allegations of corruption. Babailo Ndanza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Meanwhile, the government in KwaZulu-Natal has asked for the reinstatement of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi as the province's top cop to be expedited. Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli made this request to the National Police Commissioner as Mkhwanazi's term is set to lapse at the end of the month. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
KwaZulu-Natal Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli, who is also the head of community safety in the province, wants Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to return as police head, calling for the renewal of his contract. Mkhwanazi, who is popular for his no-nonsense approach on corruption, quickly became controversial for his July 2025 presser, where he made explosive claims of political interference within law enforcement agencies. In December last year, the Premier recommended Mkhwanazi's reappointment to the National Commissioner. Spokesperson Lindelani Mbata.
The delay in finalizing the process has begun to create uncertainty among members of the public and key stakeholders.
He adds that the provincial government is more than ready to have Mkhwanazi run KZN subs again. The National Commissioner is yet to make his decision public in this regard. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Staying in KwaZulu-Natal, police have shot and killed a man who attempted to rob a police officer this morning. The suspects targeted the cop in Botanic near the Durban University of Technology Steve Biko campus. Advanced Life Paramedics spokesperson Gareth Jameson says the officer opened fire in self-defense.
Paramedics arrived on scene to find SAPS and multiple security personnel already in attendance and were shown to a male believed to be in his 20s who had sustained a gunshot wound to his head. Paramedics assessed the man. However, the man had sustained fatal injuries. There was nothing paramedics could do for him and he was declared deceased on the scene.
A driver accused of causing a crash that claimed the lives of 14 school children will return to the Federal Bail Park Magistrates Court today for formal bail applications. Ayanda Dludla faces 14 counts of murder, 3 of attempted murder and 1 for driving without a permit. Dludla collided head-on with a truck while driving the children to school in January. Jabulile Mbata has more.
In his previous appearance at the Federal Bail Park Magistrates Court, Ayanda Dludla abandoned his bail application. His lawyer Reward Nxumalo told media that Dludla was remorseful about his actions and that he was struggling to come to terms with the accident. Nxumalo said Dludla needed psychological help because he was finding it hard to cope in prison.
My client is very much remorseful of what happened on the day in question, and I understand that lives were lost, and as painful as it is, I've seen my client, I've seen the family of the victim. This is the one part perhaps where in the eyes of the law we have to balance a number of factors, both of the parents, the deceased and my clients. My clients hold much faith in the rule of law more than anything.
Dludla has now changed his mind about bail and he is expected to appear today at the Regional Magistrates Court for the hearing of his application. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
And Iran has vowed to retaliate for the death of its security chief Ali Larijani firing off a wave of missiles at Israel, which said it killed him in an airstrike. A barrage of Iranian missiles killed 2 people near Israel's commercial hub, Tel Aviv, while Gulf nations intercepted rockets and drones headed for targets, including U.S. bases in the region. Iran will hold funerals today for Larijani and another powerful figure killed yesterday by Israel in the head of the Basij paramilitary force. He is the most prominent figure of the Islamic Republic who was killed since Israel and the United States launched their attacks on Iran on the 28th of February, killing Supreme Leader Ayatollah Al-Khamenei and igniting a war in the Middle East. Gold is trading at $5,000, 26 cents an ounce. The rand is at 16.63 to the dollar, 22.24 to the pound, 19.20 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $101.10 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the N1 South. This is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. That's due to peak time delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 West. This is between Patfontein Road and Snake Road. That's due to an earlier accident.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers. The temperatures will peak at highs between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will again take to the witness stand before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing police corruption to make closing submissions today.
EWN In Touch. in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the show on this Wednesday, the 18th day of March. We're glad that you have joined us this morning on 702. I hope you're good this morning. So the 702 open line starts now on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. My goodness, where do we even begin? Okay, let's start on the continent. What the heck is going on with CAF? Can you believe that Morocco are now the African champions after a CAF ruling that has now stripped Senegal of the trophy for their conduct in that final match? It's actually quite unbelievable. Let me try give some context for some people that may not have been following the story. So remember AFCON, we were celebrating on the show, Senegal after lifting that AFCON trophy in Morocco. This is like what, 2 months ago? And now the Confederation of African Football has dramatically overturned the result. The CAF Appeal Board declared Senegal guilty of misconduct, ruling that the final match was forfeited and awarding Morocco a 3-0 victory. And this ruling stems from Morocco's appeal, which challenged Senegal's conduct during the final clash, where Senegal, remember when they walked off the pitch for about 10-15 minutes to protest that controversial stoppage time penalty awarded to Morocco during the final match. So CAF has found that Senegal's actions violated Article 82 and 84 of the AFCON regulations. Can I read those articles for you? So Article 82 of the AFCON regulation says, this article stipulates that any team that refuses to play or leaves the ground before the regular end of the match without the authorization of the referee shall be considered the loser and eliminated from the competition. That's Article 82, which in a way applies because Morocco did leave the pitch before the regular end of the match without authorization of the referee. Now, Article 84, which has also been violated according to the appeal board, says this further mandates that such a violation results in permanent elimination with the match awarded 3-0 to the opponent unless a more favorable score for the non-offering team was already recorded. That's what Article 84 says. So this decision means basically Morocco, who lost on the pitch, are now officially recognized as AFCON's 2025 champions. Senegal is stripped of that title. I mean, this is no doubt one of the most controversial rulings in African football history. And look, I get it. AFCON rules state very clearly, as I've read them to you, walking off or refusing to play for a prolonged period is grounds for elimination. But this decision to strip Senegal of the AFCON title 2 months or so after their trophy lift is a bad look for CAF. And maybe it should be within the power of the officials in real time to disqualify a team, or at the very least, maybe CAF's appeal board should have suspended Senegal from the next AFCON or something. But taking away a trophy that everyone saw them fairly win, that's quite tragic. What are your thoughts? Are you happy with how CAF and its appeal board has ruled on this matter? And I should say its appeals board, because that's an independent body, really, to the entire CAF. Give me a call, please, and share your thoughts on 011-883-0702. How do you feel about this decision? WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. There are now calls for the whole of Africa to protest this decision. Some people are saying no country should take part in AFCON until that decision against Senegal is rescinded. What do you make of that proposal? I think it's only fair that football should be settled on the field, not in the boardrooms. That's not the path we want to get to. My understanding is that Senegal will now go to the Court of Arbitration for Sports to annul this decision of the appeal board and remain the 2025 AFCON champions. But this is just another controversial episode that does irreparable damage to CAF's reputation as an institution. Let me know what your thoughts are. Give me a call or send me a WhatsApp voice note. Also, yesterday, the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, contradicted the head of intelligence, General Dumisani Khumalo, who said, based on an assessment they made, almost all of the officers, in fact, I think they had said 90% or so of the officers in Gauteng are compromised. Remember what he said when he appeared before the ad hoc committee?
During the analysis and the threat and risk assessment, it had come out that almost the whole of SAPS in Gauteng is working for the cartel.
So immediately after that comment, I was like, what? That is huge. If there is an assessment that is made that tells us that, then we're in trouble. Quickly got on a call with the Gauteng Police Commissioner, who denied it and said, I don't know what this man is talking about. This assessment is talking about, I have no idea where that came from. Now the Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, yesterday confirmed in Parliament that the number that Dumisani Khumalo mentioned, that 90% or almost all of them are compromised, was actually an exaggeration.
The view expressed here by Lieutenant General Khumalo, the head of our crime intelligence, that some 90% of officers in Gauteng are compromised and work for one or other of these syndicates.
Yeah, look. I'm aware that yes, there is. It's not only in Gauteng. Corruption is there in other provinces also. Gauteng might be more, but not. How do you come to the 90%? I think it's a bit of exaggeration. The 90%. There are men and women that are committed and are doing their work in that province. I know, he made that statement, but I think it's a bit of maybe exaggeration. I don't think one will, how do you come to the figure?
Yeah, that's it. And that's the question we were asking. And there were some of you who said, why are you questioning General Khumalo? Why? He can be questioned. When you say that there's an assessment that has been made, at the very least, let us in on how that assessment was made, because that comment has the potential to affect public confidence in the SAPS. That's a big statement to make. So the National Police Commissioner now says that was an exaggeration. So members of Parliament yesterday were now saying the head of intelligence, General Khumalo, needs to come back and withdraw that statement. And I think that is the right thing to do. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. And then also your thoughts on the US's Director of National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, who has now resigned over the country's war in Iran. Remember, Kent I mean, he is a long-time Trump supporter, and he says Iran posed no imminent threat to America, adding that the U.S. started the war due to pressure from Israel. And Kent is, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, the first senior official to protest President Donald Trump's war in Iran. And how did Trump respond to his resignation?
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it. If I didn't terminate Obama's horrible deal that he made, the Iran nuclear deal, you would have had a nuclear war 4 years ago. You would have had nuclear.
I mean, if Iran was a threat, imminent threat like that to America over the last 40 years, why didn't Trump also campaign on that? Why didn't he tell the potential supporters that if I win, I'm going to deal with the threat from Iran? In fact, his campaign was the opposite. He said we need to stop sending our soldiers to go and fight wars and push for regime change in countries. He was against the war in Iran. Here he is now. And because there's a senior member in his administration who's resigned, now he calls him weak, which, by the way, I think is likely going to be consequential to troop morale. I mean, this is someone who really served as a soldier in Iraq. Where else? I think in Yemen as well. He was deployed on 11 combat missions, primarily in Iraq, before he retired in 2018. He's got 6 Bronze Stars. That's someone that soldiers in America would look to and say, that's the man. You're calling him weak now? What do you think that does to the morale of the soldiers on the ground? But hey, that's the president of the U.S. for you. At 10 o'clock, we're going to be in conversation with the German ambassador to South Africa, Lesotho, and Eswatini, Andreas Peschke. Remember, we've been bringing you these conversations with ambassadors. A few weeks ago, we had a French ambassador. We're going to have the UK ambassador as well coming in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, the US ambassador as well. But today, the focus is on Germany between 10 and 11 o'clock. Don't miss that chat. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Listener's Choice feature. Today, we're discussing Formula One. Remember, on Monday, we got a call from 2 listeners who said, please, can you do a Formula One masterclass? So if you've got any questions about Formula One, at 11 o'clock, call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note. And then at 11:30, we're going to wrap up the show with the sharing space. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Mark, you are the first caller this morning on the 702 open line. What are your thoughts about this CAF's decision? Good morning.
Yeah, I'm Mark, at least said Clement. Morning. Look, I'm fully in agreement with Senegal being stripped. I mean, I actually said when I watched the game that anybody who walks off the pitch and because they want to protest and so on. First of all, rule number 1, there is no protest. The ref is in charge. You play to the whistle. Whether you agree with the decision or not, that's beside the point. I mean, there have been millions of decisions where penalties, free kicks, goals have not been awarded. You call that the rubber, the green. Some go for you, some go against. If you look at both penalty decisions, the one that wasn't given for Senegal, or the goal that wasn't given for Senegal, where the guy was pushed in the back, and the penalty given to Morocco, they were fully justified, I'm concerned. If Senegal has a problem, they should have then complained through the official channels, but just to walk off the pitch and then cause chaos and have the supporters cause chaos like this, I mean, it's no wonder that the guy missed the penalty. I mean, it was unfair for him to prepare himself for over 20 minutes or trying to prepare himself and then ultimately miss the penalty. The only decision or bad decision that CAF made, they should have basically made it on the night, straight away. The referee should have called it. I call that weak refereeing and weak officials. And if the referee wouldn't have made that decision, he should have then called in the VAR or whatever other officials, and I could have made a decision right there and then, and not just 2 months later. Once again, but I mean, this is like what we do in Africa. We take our time.
We take our time, and I mean that doesn't bode well for the football. And I agree with you, Mark, because the rules are very clear, and I've read them, Article 82 and Article 84, and maybe this is an opportunity for lessons here, that maybe what we need is it should be within the powers of the officials in real time to disqualify a team. I mean, to come back after 2 months, that's quite wild. Mark, thank you for your thoughts in Centurion. Mike, you are in Midrand. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
Sure.
And good morning to your listeners as well. I think just to echo to what the previous caller said, I think I'm on the same view here. I see Axis buzzing, like everybody's like so mad, so crazy about why Senegal is, handing back the trophy. It's funny because I remember the time I was watching the game, Clement, as soon as I saw the guys walking out of that pitch, I literally remembered my late brother. He used to be a soccer player as well. And I called my uncle immediately after the game, and I said, these guys are going to lose this game. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, they just walked out of the pitch, and you saw those guys were not even more than 10. And I didn't know about the numbers out there by then, but I remember my brother used to tell me about it, to say you should never become emotional when you're playing the game. We have seen it with so many, teams, right, where they're complaining about the referee, that you're so unfair to us. Fans are throwing things on the pitch, you know what I mean? So, I knew this was going to happen. I just did not know that it was going to come sooner. I thought maybe they're going to delay for like a year or something, but I was never for them.
Is it not too extreme though, Mike? Like, why don't you just disqualify them from the next 2 AFCON scare? Like, to take away the trophy when all of us who followed that tournament saw that Senegal won fairly on the pitch. They deserved that. What does it do to football? What does it do to the fan base when you come back and you take away? I mean, there are many other consequences that could have followed from here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're actually raising a good point, whether the punishment isn't that severe in this case. I think the reality is that this is one of the key rules for all the players, whether you're playing for a junior, under 17, under 23, or 50, you know this rule. And I believe that in this case, they should have use their own judgment. It's a difficult one because you're upset, you're not thinking straight, you think, the world will be behind you, and then you forget their integrity because these are the rules. Everyone that plays sports around the world, they know about these rules.
Absolutely. Mike in Midrand, thank you for your call. Mahlatsi, you're also in Midrand. What do you think?
Yeah, Midrand is taking it over.
Hey, they are.
I listen to your shows every day. Midrand is taking over.
Midrand must win. Yeah, Midrand must win the cup for.
I'm telling you, even if you bring your own Mpumalanga, I would not defeat us. I tell you that, man. Clement, this thing is very. It's like when you have won the next thing, you've won a race, and the next thing they say they've detected drugs on your body, and then now we have celebrated Clement for winning the comrade, and now we have to uncelebrate you. How do we do that?
That is
tough.
But
now it's very tough, and if you look at it, I think for me, Morocco were unruly the whole tournament. They behaved like spoiled kids because we were playing the tournament in their own ground. Everything that they did, taking the towels, being like, they were just irritating everybody throughout the game. And if I was Senegal as well, I think the same behavior that they gave to us of moving out to saying, okay, it looks like nothing goes our way, I would have done the same thing, because it was bad to look at what Morocco was doing to everyone, not only Senegal, but on the final day as well. What we saw, that it was not pleasing, but what they are doing now, taking away, there's something that we should have done than taking the trophy. You are right. Maybe ban them for 2 years. I don't know. But rules are rules, as they say. But Man, soccer is no longer nice. VAR came. Everything's just changing every day. We're no longer enjoying the hand of God scoring goals.
The hand of God, or the power of the traditional healers, because some of these football teams.
You understand? And yeah, soon enough, let me tell you, you and Pirates are going to have trouble. We're going to have rules that no longer, we don't want this thing of you pouring things on the ground or whatever you're coming up with.
As if we're the only ones. As if we're the only ones.
But we see you, the people who are visible, we are visible, see who are seeing doing that thing. It's only you guys.
You're a Kaiser Chiefs supporter, ne?
Clement, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you very much for the
You
nice
smell
show.
like
Bye.
it. I could just tell. But that's in Midrand. Thank you. Guys, I really think that Senegal has a chance at the Court of Arbitration. I think they have a chance at appealing. I'm actually looking at this ruling, at this Article 82 again. It says, the article stipulates that any team that refuses to play or leaves the ground before the regular end of the match without the authorization of the referee shall be considered a loser. But they could argue that, well, we didn't abandon the game. The match was completed by the referee's whistle. So they could argue that this Article 82 doesn't apply. It's actually misapplied because the game continued under the same circumstances and reached its natural end. So there was more of a delay, but the final was completed. So let's see how they argue it at the Court of Arbitration. But there's possibly a chance here for them to claim that changing the winner of a completed final is quite an extreme overreach by the appeal board. And this punishment for just merely delaying, which was wrong, sure, the punishment for delaying, not refusal, to play as they finish the game is then excessive. Your WhatsApps on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Clement. On the case of Morocco and Senegal, I just want to find out why did the referee let the match continue while they know the rules very well. So if anybody make a blunder, it was the referee and CAF, because they were all there and they were watching. They should have told the referee that the match shouldn't go ahead. So it was terrible. And then on the other hand, I just want to find out, where is Benjamin Netanyahu? He hasn't been seen for over 11 days now, and then nobody's saying anything about it. Where is the man? Thank you. Henry from Protect Land.
Henry, I've seen the rumors. So let's explain to other listeners who may be lost. There have been rumors that the Prime Minister of, that's the Prime Minister, not President. Yeah, Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is dead. So those have been the rumors doing around. I mean, I've seen some podcasters in America as well asking, is Bibi dead? And they're doing shows about it. But I got a message this morning, in fact, from somebody who sent me a video of, I wish I could play this. Abel, let's see if we can play this. I'm going to send it to you. It's a video of Mike Huckabee. Remember, Mike Huckabee is the American ambassador to Israel. He went to Bibi Netanyahu's office to check if he's alive. So they've done a whole video where Mike Huckabee enters this office of Bibi Netanyahu and says, hey, President Trump said I must come and check if you're alive. And you can see Bibi Netanyahu walking out there and saying, I'm very much alive. And he takes out this card. Abel, I've sent you the clip. Let's see if we can play it for the listeners. And then he takes out this card and he says, I'm alive, but guess who's not alive? And then on this card are a list of people that Israel wants dead in Iran. And he says, I've got this card. It's of the people that we're eliminating. And so far, we're eliminating them. So those are the people dying, not necessarily me. I'm very much alive. So that's the video that I got, in fact, about an hour ago, that confirms, if you will, from Mike Huckabee's that Bibi Netanyahu is still very much alive. I hope that answers your question. It's 9:31. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Alleged crime boss Vincent Magwenya is expected back in the Johannesburg High Court for his attempted murder case this morning. Magwenya, his wife Tsakane, and their 3 co-accused are facing 25 charges relating to 3 separate shootings allegedly carried out between August 2022 and 2024. A driver accused of causing a crash that claimed the lives of 14 school children is returning to the Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court today for a formal bail application. Ayanda Dludla faces 14 counts of murder, 3 of attempted murder and 1 for driving without a permit. Dludla collided head-on with the truck while driving the children to school in January. And Iran has vowed to retaliate for the death of its security chief Ali Larijani, firing off a wave of missiles at Israel, which said it killed him in an airstrike. A barrage of Iranian missiles killed 2 people near Israel's commercial hub in Tel Aviv, while Gulf nations intercepted rockets and drones headed for targets, including U.S. bases in the region. And those are the headlines this EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, travelling on the N1 South, we still have got delays. This is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive, so heading towards Four Ways could be a bit problematic this morning. Please be on the lookout there and be patient on the roads. While travelling on the M1 South, we've got queuing traffic between Grayston Drive and College Drive. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N3 North right at the Geldenhuys Interchange. Roadworks are still causing those delays, so please be on the lookout there. If you are travelling in Benoni, the good news is that accident we spoke about earlier has been cleared, but traffic remains a bit slow just as you approach Snake Road. There's also queuing traffic on the M1 South, rather the N1 South towards Olifantsfontein Road coming out of Samrand Avenue. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Have you been writing a letter, dear man?
I remember those writing pads, they come in powder blue, pink, and I was doing standard 6. I wrote a letter to a girlfriend who dropped me. So while writing a letter, tears were running and, the new cars dropping on the same letter. So I became creative. I said, no, use those things and whatever you see on the letter, those are my tears. They were so hateful living without you. So I got her back.
That's a beautiful story. And who says there's no romance in writing letters?
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Okay, truck 7 has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without My Way's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Some moments are personal. Some spaces are professional. All of them deserve care. At Frond and Filigree, we create handcrafted floral experiences for life's meaningful moments and the places where they happen. From birthdays and anniversaries to hotels, offices and events, our bespoke arrangements are designed with artistry and intention. Because when flowers are done right, they elevate every moment. Visit frondandfiligree.co.za.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety and service, Warrior Paints is street ahead. Warrior Paints, affordable, lasting, luxury.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
It's 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. Someone sent us a voice note before the headlines asking if the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, where is he? And this is off the back of the rumors about him being dead. And I was explaining that he's not. In fact, Mike Huckabee went to his office to check him. And I received a video about an hour ago of this interaction. So let me play it for you so you can hear for yourself. This is a conversation between America's ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, and Bibi Netanyahu.
Mr. Prime Minister, I wanted you to know the President asked me to come and make sure you were okay.
Yes, Mike. Yes, I'm alive.
I checked that, and I'm happy to see that. But he wanted to make sure because, you guys get along too well.
I know, and we shake hands with 5 fingers in each hand. But I have to tell you, I'm alive, but I have this card.
Oh.
And, don't read it. So it's a punch card.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I erased 2 names on the punch cards. And you see how many more to go on this batch.
You know what the good news is? My name is not on the punch card.
Your name is on the list of the good guys.
Thank you.
And what the President, the U.S. forces are doing is incredible. We're very proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. And getting rid of these lunatics who would like to develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to every American city after wiping out Israel. They ain't going to do that. We're wiping them out.
I love it.
We are wiping them out. That's what he said. So in the video, then they shake hands. And I see a lot of you are asking, but Clement, how do you know that this is not AI? You never know these days. This is actually my biggest fear about AI. In 2 years' time, we're never going to be able to tell what is real and what is not. Do you understand that? Like, people can just superimpose me in studio saying something. I mean, there are scammers now. My mother always sends me videos of me talking to the president, which has happened, but they have changed what we say, and it looks like we are talking about some amazing scheme, some pyramid scheme where you must invest money, and people lose money from that. Like, people legitimately believe things like that. But I've seen that Mike Huckabee posted this clip. Benjamin Netanyahu as well. I've just gone to his social media page. He also posted this video. I don't know. If really something has happened, then they are probably trying to hide it by putting up an AI clip, which I really doubt they would go that far. I'm just saying that this is an official video tweeted by the official, because I've just checked now, the Mike Huckabee's official Twitter account. He posted this video, and so did Benjamin Netanyahu. You believe it or not? I don't know. You decide. But this is what these 2 officials have said about their supposed interaction. Let's go to your WhatsApps. George, Bradley, Bonnie, I see you. I'll come to you in a moment.
Hi, Clement. I think, you see, with regards to Trump, I wouldn't really deny it if someone was saying probably Israel is actually blackmailing him into doing something that he originally might not have wanted to do. Because it seems as if he is now more involved in the war with Iran than Israel itself. Like, I don't know what's happening. I think he is being cornered somewhere, somehow. There's information probably that he don't want to have leaked or something, because how he is acting, I don't think there's a normal person that can act like that.
I mean, there are even Republicans who have said, what the hell is going on here? His supporters. So Trump has like a base of support. Like, let's take podcasters, for instance. If you know Tucker Carlson, that's a man who worked for Fox News for decades, I think, who has always supported Trump. If you know Megyn Kelly, someone who worked at Fox News for decades, always supported Trump, even when it didn't make sense. If you know Candace Owens, if you know Charlie Kirk, all these people, except Charlie now, because he's no more. But before he even died, he raised concerns about the war in the Middle East and how America is busy taking decisions on its foreign policy based on the interests of Israel and not on the interests of America. And now Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, these are like influential far-right podcasters in America who, I mean, Candace Owens' podcast is the #1 podcast in the entire world. That's what came out a couple of months ago. I don't know which podcast now is the top, but a few months ago, I think early this year, if not in December, Candace Owens' show was number 1 in the world. All these guys have turned their back around Trump. They still support him in some way, but they disagree with the decision to be fighting in Iran because it simply doesn't make sense for the Americans. It's 19 minutes now before 10 o'clock.
Your voice, your station, your open line. Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela on 702.
Back to your calls on 011-883-0702. Bonnie, you're calling us from Durban. What do you make of this decision by the CAF's appeal board? Hello, Bonnie. Bonnie. Hey, Tara. Go ahead, brother. You're on the radio.
Clement, let me make it. I wanted to just explain something, but I think an example will suffice.
Yeah.
So let's say during that game, something happened, ne? And maybe let's make an example of a player from Morocco. Willenguru would have done something that warranted a ban, maybe during the extra time, a ban for some time, for some years or whatever the case. Would we now go back and say because at that time the game should have not continued? Are we rendering that decision to ban that particular player null and void? The simple point I'm making is the officials let the game continue, and then the game continued. So the referee's decision should be final. Because now, we have to then go back and say, referee, we have to sanction the referee then. If the referee was supposed to abandon the game, if he was supposed to and he didn't do that.
And what is abandoning the game, Bonnie? Because I think we must then define that. Is abandoning the game walking off the pitch completely and not coming back, or is it walking off the pitch and then coming back after 10, 15 or 20 minutes, whatever the time is?
Exactly my point. They came back. They didn't abandon the game. And I also wanted to make a point on Trump quickly. Ne?
Yeah.
What I've come to realize about him, the minute you disagree with him, you are either weak.
Yeah.
In the case of the media, you disagree with him or you question him.
You're fake
you
news.
Are fake news media.
Yeah. Even Libo Tucker Carlson, he loves Tucker. Trump loves Tucker Carlson so much that even before Trump went to war with Iran, Tucker Carlson met with Trump and tried to tell him, don't do it. That's how close they are. Trump is also close to Candace Owens to a point that he has called Candace Owens before to even intervene in Candace Owens' fight with the French president and his wife. So I'm trying to demonstrate that he's got people that are very close to him. But the minute Candace and Tucker started disagreeing with him, then he starts saying, they're terrible anyway. They've never really been for America. But yeah, that's really Donald Trump. You can't disagree. If you disagree with him or you say no, then you're in trouble. Remember, the French president, he told the French president, come and join the Board of Peace. French president said, no, not interested. And then he said, I'm going to impose 200% tariffs on your wines and champagnes. Who does that? Spain. He said to Spain, come help us here in Iran. Can we maybe fly off our planes from your bases? Just come and cooperate with us in a way. Spain said, we're not getting involved. And then he said, cut all trade with Spain. Guys, that is not normal. No matter how much you support the man, that is not a normal thing to do. That every time someone disagrees with you or doesn't take the proposal you make, you just make a unilateral decision like that to just cut trade, to impose 200% French champagne, which is going to affect the very same Americans? How is that rational? How? Bradley, you're in Mayerton. Good morning.
Morning, my name is Jack.
Hey, Tada.
How are you? Good.
Good, man. Go ahead.
I'm not in standing point of being good, yeah? Actually, let me just quickly run over what I was thinking. CAF did overturn its own rules of the game. Because Even if you take Rule 84 that you were talking about, it doesn't say anything, an inference into when the game is a final or not. Get what I'm saying? Because the final has got a cup at the end of the day.
Yes.
And once you commission a cup, then you're going to take it away. There's no rule that says that. You get what I'm saying?
There isn't here, you're right.
Yes. So there could have been an inference .1 or .2 that says when it's a final and stuff. Now, imagine what all that is going around over the cup. They've celebrated. They didn't take their own 22 hours to review the complaint that Morocco laid on. And who's going to pay for all the celebrations and festivities that followed? Is CAF going to do that? Because it once gave Senegal the cup, and they did all what they had to do about it.
Yeah,
Then
but
now they take it away.
But listen to this.
So isn't it overturning your own rules?
Listen to this, Bradley. I'm looking because I've got the rules printed here with me. So here's what, under the exceptions and technicalities, this is what the rules say, right? Referee permission. Teams are only legally permitted to leave the pitch for genuine safety concerns, crowd violence or emergencies, or with the referee's explicit instruction. And then listen to this. Restarted play. If a team returns and a referee restarts play, which is what happened here, they may avoid immediate disqualification, but they remain subject to retroactive disciplinary action that can still overturn the final result. Do you get that? So even if you came back and they were going to make a decision much later, the point is your action can be judged and the final result can be overturned.
In the case of the cup?
What do you mean by cup? Like as in who lifts the cup?
They let the game finish, I understand.
Yeah.
But in terms of the inference, I'm saying that you award a cup, then you take it away again. You get what I'm saying? Yes.
So once the cup is awarded, I get you.
Yes. Once the cup has been awarded, is it reversed like any other game? That's what I'm saying.
No.
Because this is a cup final.
Yeah.
And you've awarded it to the people, the owners of the cup received it. And they actually did the battle on the ground, not in the office.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying, Bradley. In Merton, what happens there in that case? I mean, the result has now been overturned, as this rule says. If a team returns and the referee restarts play, they may avoid immediate disqualification, but they remain subject to that disciplinary action that can still overturn that final result. But Bradley is asking, in the case of a cup, what do you do? So is Morocco in name going to be the 2025, AFCON champions? But really, all of us know who are the champions. How does it work? George in Johannesburg, hi.
How are you, Clement?
Good, man. Go ahead.
Let me start with a question. Do we have any rule which can change the referee's decision? Have we ever heard about that? That this is the referee's decision on the field. Somebody said to the referee, "You mustn't do this," and then the referee changed his mind. Do we have that rule?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, we don't have. So the referee's decision is final. That is why even that the penalty, most people or most of us, including myself, we don't think that's a penalty. But because it's a referee's decision, we can't turn it otherwise. So the referee's decision say Senegal won. That's it. Unless we've got a clause where we can say, one can say the referees mustn't do this and do this. Until we have that, let's stick to the referee's decision.
Yeah, but George, sometimes the referee will say, let's restart the play and continue with the match. Not because something that happened has been finalized, because maybe that's because they want to allow for time to do further investigations and go watch the video again and see what happened before a decision can then be made. So a referee also has a right to go, okay, I am not sure how we're going to operate here, but let's resume play. And then later on, the right body will investigate and make the final decision, which it has in this case after Morocco raised those objections.
Okay, let's go to the penalty shootout. If two sides given a first 5 penalties. The other side missed 3 penalties. The other side scored 3 penalties. Normally, they don't play the remaining 2. I don't know if you get on, because automatically, even the other side, even so we don't, So why in this case they proceed? Because even if Senegal can score 20 goals, they can't win the game.
Yeah.
Why?
That's a fair
Even
point.
if they can get goals, 100 games, 50 or 1,000 goals, they can't win the
they
game.
can't.
Why?
Yeah.
We're not supposed to. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair point you're raising, George, in Johannesburg. Thank you. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning, Madimecha. Look, Clement, 2 wrongs don't make it right. I think we were all aware that Morocco was a very difficult country to host and to play against. Therefore, I don't think Senegal is justified by walking off the field. They should have stayed. I think they disrespected spectators. They disrespected match officials. I think at the end of everything, all these countries should have laid a complaint against Morocco and written to CAF about how unpleasant the tournament was. But you don't decide to walk off the field when the rule says you should remain. I think this is a good example, and it's also for young upcoming sports professionals. You need to understand that there are rules. You can't break the rules and get away with it. It doesn't matter how long it took for the outcome. I think they needed to do proper investigations and check the legalities of everything. Therefore, I think it's right. Senegal deserves what they got.
Hi, Clement. The CAF ruling is just shambolic, man. I know Bongani was saying rules are rules, but in accounting, we have something called substance over form, where you have to look at the substance of the matter over the actual form. You can't just apply the rule blindly. I believe Morocco brought the game into disrepute in the way they behaved. So in saying that, you have to apply your mind to the rules. I mean, like the example that I'm going to use a bit extreme, but apartheid was a rule. It was a law that was enforced, but it was still wrong, you know. I don't know what's happening with CAF, but what a farce this whole situation is. But Morocco really behaved badly and brought the game into disrepute, and really, it was really nice to work from them. I hope Senegal challenges this, and I hope they're successful in the challenge. Cheers.
Manon Clement, I don't see any wrong with what the board did with the Senegal and Morocco situation. Yeah, if you walk away from the pitch for only even a minute, or like almost all the players walked out. So what they were thinking, then the other team wins, walks away with 3 points, then they win.
I'm wondering about the Cup. I mean, with the World Cup and African Cup of Nations, all these kind of tournaments, it's a floating trophy, so it stays with the country until the next World Cup. So, I'm just wondering, was the trophy engraved? I mean, they might have engraved already the winner for this year. That would be a bit of a bother, wouldn't it?
Good morning, Clement. Clement, I just want to know what is actually going to happen about the whole drama of CAF decision. Things like what's going to be happening about the cup. I mean, obviously, Senegal on the cup, they're being engraved as the 2025 CAF champions. And what about the medals? Are they going to be taken off from Senegal, be given the silver ones, and the ones that were given to Morocco, being the silver, are going to be given as gold now? Really, this is confusing. You know, Tobejano once said, football will kill you real death. This is so confusing. Hi, this is Tebogo from Kukatlehone.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Hi, Clement. Yo, Americans. These people voted for Trump. Not once. Clement, not once. Twice. Look at the mess we're in now. I know. I give up on Americans. What an absolute mess.
Good morning, Clement and team. Clement, unless I do not know how the American politics works, maybe someone must school me. Why is always the blame going to Trump? Trump is not the American king. He's the American president. So there is the American Congress that supports his decisions, or that actually is instructing him to do that. Maybe someone must just enlighten us. It cannot be that Donald Trump is now all of a sudden a king. Then it just takes decisions willy-nilly. Sipho from Tembisa.
Well, Sipho, he has been taking decisions willy-nilly. This is not the first time that he doesn't even consult Congress. My understanding is he consulted. So in American politics, there's a group called the Group of 20. I think these are these are congressmen, like 20 of them that you can just talk to and say, hey, we're going to send soldiers here. We're going to invade this country, or whatever the decision is when it comes to war or military intervention. And the Trump administration has claimed that, no, we did speak to this group of 20. But when you go to war, that needs congressional approval. And even with the military intervention in Venezuela, when they went and abducted, and we've just swiftly moved along, hey, a whole country went and abducted a president of a sovereign state. Even then, there was no congressional approval. But I think they're finding loopholes around how to go about it. But this has always been happening in the US. It's been happening. And there are people who actually disagree with Donald Trump, but who are seemingly scared, which is why Joe Kent's resignation is quite significant, because this is a very senior person in the security apparatus in the US who says, I can't do this, not on good conscience. Hey? Elias, you calling us from Deep Kloof. Good morning.
Hello.
Sure, brother. Go ahead.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Sharp.
I'm all right, man. I just wanted to find out now about this Senegal-Morocco game. I wanted to find out, like people who have betted like a lot of money for Morocco to win that tournament.
Yeah.
And now that the result has been reversed, can we still get our winnings, or what's going to happen in that one?
That's the big question, Elias. That's what everybody has been asking. I've also put out some messages to some guys at CAF to find out what happens to the people that have taken bets. So I hope if they respond, Elias, I'll just announce it on the radio what the process will be. But I mean, this is all messy. You've heard questions about even the cup. What happens? It's probably engraved. I mean, it definitely is engraved by now. So all those processes still haven't been explained. But that's one of the questions. Bets have been taken of people who said Morocco will win. They lost, but Morocco has now clearly is the champion. What happens in that regard?
These holidays, millions of South Africans dream of a well-earned getaway. The reality, however, can be very different.
Look like the kind of place that'll only get dusted for fingerprints.
Accommodation can look great online, but in reality...
Never seen a home look so homeless.
Sadly, they've been flat-fished. That's why City Lodge brings you SOS. Visit saveourstay.co.za for City Lodge hotels nearby and up to 30% off. Getting flat-fished is hard. Check into easy. T's and C's apply.
Smart Steve from Momentum, hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Remember when you had to hurry up and wait, and cars could only run on fossil fuels? Well, hurry up and catch up. You don't need diesel power, you just need a second electric motor. With Volvo plug-in hybrids, you can drive electric in the city, switch to fuel for the long haul, or combine both when you want it all. So what are you waiting for? You're late for your test drive. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Magwenya is expected back in the Johannesburg High Court for his attempted murder case this morning. Magwenya, his wife Tsakani and their 3 co-accused are facing 25 charges related to 3 separate shootings allegedly carried out between August 2022 and January 2024. Dimakatso Leshuro reports.
The trial was set down for a pre-trial hearing, but the defense requested a postponement, arguing they have not yet received all relevant documents and evidence from the state. Today, the court is expected to hear if charges against one of the accused, 23-year-old Ntabise Nzama, will be dropped after her legal team stopped her pre-trial process, opting to make representations to the NPA to have the charges against her dropped. At the time, her attorney argued the state's case is weak and unlikely to succeed. Nzama is accused of facilitating financial transactions linked to alleged criminal proceeds, including a failed hit on socialite Debogo Tobejane. Magwenya and 2 co-accused, Diego Floyd Mabusela and Musa Kekana, are currently behind bars, while his wife Tsakani and Nzama are out on bail. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
Police Sergeant Faninkosi has refused to describe the nature of his relationship with Steve Mutsumi, a mysterious figure linked to corrupt people. It emerged during Nkosi's testimony at the Magwenya Commission that the officer shared confidential SAPS information with Mutsumi. Several witnesses have mentioned Mutsumi as someone close to suspected crime bosses and high-ranking officials in the country's law enforcement sector. Tabiso Goba reports.
Steve Mutsumi has been highlighted by some witnesses at the Commission as being close to Gauteng's taxi bosses and having interests in mining and private security. When KZN Hawks head Leseja Sinona testified at the Magwenya Commission, he described Mutsumi as a very dangerous man. WhatsApp chats from Sergeant Faninkosi shows he regularly sends Mutsumi confidential police information. This ranged from audit reports of tenders, media queries about kidnapping for extortion, and ongoing police investigations. Nkosi says the reason he shared these documents with Mutsumi is because he has an interest in police affairs.
One of the things that Mr. Mutsumi is always concerned about is when police are implicated in wrongdoing. So his interest is there. He does not want when police are implicated in wrongdoing, because according to him, he's got the best interest of South Africa and its inheritance.
However, Nkosi's explanation did not sit well with the commissioners, who berated him for sharing confidential information with a civilian. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
A driver accused of causing a crash that claimed the lives of 14 school children will return to the Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court today for a formal bail application. Ayanda Dludla faces 14 counts of murder, 3 for attempted murder and 1 for driving without a permit. Dludla collided head-on with a truck while driving the children to school in January. Jabuli Lembata reports.
In his previous appearance at the Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court, Ayanda Dludla abandoned his bail application. His lawyer Reward Nxumalo told media that Dludla was remorseful about his actions and that he was struggling to come to terms with the accident. Nxumalo said Dludla needed psychological help because he was finding it hard to cope in prison.
My client is very much remorseful of what happened on the day in question, and I understand that lives were lost, and as painful as it is, I've seen my client, I've seen the family of the victim. This is the one part perhaps where in the eyes of the law we have to balance a number of factors, both of the parents, the deceased, and my clients. My clients hold much faith in the rule of law more than anything.
Dludla has now changed his mind about bail, and he is expected to appear today at the Regional Magistrates Court for the hearing of his application. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
A man who attempted to rob an officer has been shot dead in KwaZulu-Natal. The suspect targeted the police officer in Botanic near the Durban University of Technology at the Steve Biko campus this morning. Advanced Life Paramedic spokesperson Gary Jameson says the officer opened fire in self-defense.
Paramedics arrived on scene to find SAPS and multiple security personnel already in attendance and were shown to a male believed to be in his 20s who had sustained a gunshot wound to his head. Paramedics assessed the man. However, the man had sustained fatal injuries. There was nothing paramedics could do for him and he was declared deceased on the scene.
And Iran has vowed to retaliate for the death of its security chief Ali Larijani, firing off a wave of missiles at Israel, which said it killed him in an airstrike. A barrage of Iranian missiles killed 2 people near Israel's commercial hub, Tel Aviv, while Gulf nations intercepted rockets and drones headed for targets, including U.S. bases in the region. Iran will hold funerals today for Larijani and another powerful figure who was killed yesterday by Israel, Golameza Soleimani, the head of the Basij paramilitary force. Gold is trading at $4,491.38 an ounce. The rand is at 16.64 to the dollar, 22.22 to the pound, 19.18 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $101.80 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 South. Road wrecks are taking place right near Kohler Drive. Delays coming out of Marlborough Drive. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 as well as the R24 West. This is between Edenville Road and the Gululis interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Ketmatlala is expected back in the Johannesburg High Court for his attempted murder case this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for your contributions on the 702 open line. I was actually thinking that maybe what we should do is maybe do a listener's choice also on where to from now with this CAF debacle. So if we can find someone who can answer some of your questions, especially questions around people who've taken bets, what happens to that? Like the trophy that's already engraved, the medals, like all of that. If we can find someone who can respond to those specific questions, we'll bring them on, even if we don't bring them today, even if it's tomorrow or on Friday. But as soon as, especially someone from CAF who can just clarify where to from now, I promise we'll bring them on the radio. But remember, at 11 o'clock, what we wanted to do on our Listener's Choice feature today was to do a masterclass on Formula One. Some of you have asked that we do a masterclass on Formula One. So for beginners, what should people understand about Formula One? Every time we talk on the show about the FIA, we talk about DRS, things like that. Some of the rules that govern Formula One, some people get lost, and they've asked that we just do a bit of a masterclass. So that's what we intend to do at 11 o'clock on our Listener's Choice feature.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
But right now, we start our conversation with the German ambassador to South Africa, Lesotho, and Eswatini, Andreas Peschke. Remember, a few weeks ago, we hosted the French ambassador. We've got the UK High Commissioner coming through as well, the US ambassador as well, whom we were told will come. So we are bringing you these conversations with ambassadors. And today's focus is on Germany, because it's one of South Africa's most important international partners, economically, politically, and increasingly in tackling global challenges as well. So, Ambassador, I really appreciate you making time for us. Welcome to 702. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Dumelang. Very happy to be here.
So when you were coming in, Abel was like, oh, the ambassador looks like he's having a lot of fun in South Africa.
Well, I do.
Yeah. Are you loving it here?
Yes, of course. No,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting country, and also work-wise, of course, a
Yeah.
fascinating relationship between our countries. So it's very good to be an ambassador with between two countries who do so much with each other, like South Africa and Germany.
Yeah, and we're going to focus on the much that happened between the two countries in a moment. I just want us, though, to touch a little bit on what is, of course, happening in the world. As Germany, and I'm asking this question because Germany plays a central role in global geopolitics because of your economic strength, your diplomatic influence, and commitment to multilateral cooperation. What is your position right now on what's currently happening in Iran and, in fact, in the Gulf?
Sure. Well, we are, like everybody else, we are kind of very concerned. I mean, it's affecting all of us heavily. So, like all of us, we really hope that this thing is going to end soon. So our chancellor came out recently and said, we need this thing to end. We need to restore normalcy to the Middle East. So obviously nobody was in favor of that regime that ruled in Iran. I think what happened at the beginning of the year with those protests in Tehran and then the crushing of these protests, thousands of that maybe. So that was bad, obviously, but what's happening right now, the attacks and the counterattacks. I mean, I won't discuss international law. I mean, that is maybe for a later stage to be looked at. But this escalation we are seeing is really, really dangerous. I mean, everybody here in South Africa feels it because those airports, they are really hubs. I mean, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, they are destinations, they are worldwide hubs. The international oil supply, fertilizers from Saudi Arabia not coming to South Africa currently. And it's the same with us in Germany. The oil prices, they have gone up in Germany by 20%. So, people are really complaining at the petrol stations. Our interest and our position would be that whatever happens, it needs to end soon.
Yeah. Do you think, as Germany, you want to intervene in like the Strait of Hormuz, because you talk about 20% spike in energy prices? What the U.S. President has suggested is that let's help. Well, it would be in your best interest as Europe as well to try and help reopen that Strait of Hormuz. What has been Germany's position on that, getting involved?
Well, actually, following the lead of our Chancellor and our Minister of Defense, we are very reluctant to get involved. I mean, we didn't close it. So I think it's a direct consequence of the attacks and counterattacks. So I think those who are involved need to take responsibility as well for the consequences in a way. So we are, ready to support our friends and partners in the regions. We are working closely with the Gulf countries. Our minister was going around talking to everybody, trying to de-escalate, but getting involved directly in that strait is probably something where we would be very reluctant.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk now about our relations between Germany and South Africa. What would you say are the biggest areas of cooperation between our two countries right now? I mean, we've got trade, we've got energy, we've got climate, so much that we work together with. What would you say are some of the biggest areas of cooperation?
Well, I think the biggest area obviously would be economic relations, business relations. I mean, we are very strong trade and investment partners. In fact, Germany is in the list of bilateral trading partners of South Africa. It's number 3 after China and the U.S. So we have over 600 German companies in South Africa active.
Over 600?
Over 600.
Jeez, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
America has just over 500?
Yeah, they are in the same range, but even a little bit less. I don't know. But no, we have a strong footprint, creating like over 100,000 direct jobs and many more indirectly, actually. So yeah, one of the big sectors where they are active is obviously automotive. Our solid German brands, and there Volkswagen is going to celebrate 75 years in South Africa this year. Going to be a big celebration in August. BMW just introduced the wonderful hybrid X3. I think the president came for the launch of the new model. So yeah, that's in the big area of cooperation investment. Another thing, obviously, is energy. So we are, I think, locked in a partnership to modernize energy supply, energy transition. We think it's really win-win. Modernizing energy supply in South Africa, modernizing energy supply in Germany, and then by this, doing something good for our climate as well. And so Germany is heavily committed to this partnership. We have invested, I think, over 50 billion rand into this partnership. And progress is there. I mean, at the end of the day, this successful transition also helped to stabilize energy supply in South Africa. And now the big thing is transmission. Next big thing is transmission, and we are committed to continue this partnership, to tackle this, both using public funds, but also encouraging private investors to get involved, to do what is necessary. So that is 2 areas, and then another big area maybe to be mentioned is that area of skills development, job creation. I mean, that is one of the big points in South Africa, with unemployment at 30%, youth unemployment at over 60%. So, and our companies are looking for talented young guys. So skills development is important. So we are also partnering in this area, and we're doing a lot of interesting things. I've just spoken to our development guys recently, and there's one program called Infrastructure Repair and Maintenance. So that's a joint program, South Africa, Germany, where it's not a full TVET course of 3 years. It's a shorter program where people are being really taught practical skills in the areas of repair, maintenance, and then they are upskilled to take up a job in a company or even be self-employed. As a kind of a short-term remedy to help in skills development, job creation. So that's something which is good. Or another thing, there's the Tsimologo-Mong Digital Skills Hub at Wits University, just around the corner. Also a joint program where students and graduates can develop their digital skills, digital design and stuff. It's very good. Our Vice Chancellor was here when he came for the G20. So we went there and met those young guys. Very fascinating stuff. So what I'm trying to say is we have those big programs, but at the end of the day, truth is very concrete.
Yeah.
So we really need to do things which have concrete benefits for the people of our countries, and that's
Yeah.
what we are trying to do.
I want to ask a bit about the automotive sector. I mean, I've seen like the kind, like I'm sure the Chinese brands that have really become quite popular in South Africa. I think the last I checked, multiple manufacturers were exceeding about 1,000 unit sales per month. So these Chinese brands are getting popular here. Have the German companies felt the brunt? Have they been impacted in any way, would you say, from what you've observed?
Yeah, no, everybody's feeling the pressure. I mean, Chinese is already, but is still a growing superpower in every area, basically, but also in the automotive. Of course, as a German ambassador, I still love our German brands. I mean, I think they are really still top of the range. But truth be told, I mean, the Chinese cars are very good. I mean, very good, and oftentimes they can offer a little bit cheaper than our German companies. So yeah, I mean, they have grown in popularity. The thing is, and that's what we are also talking about with the government and authorities here, is that selling cars is one thing. And there, I think we are just, we need to expose ourselves to every fair competition in the world. I mean, our cars are competing with the Chinese, the Americans, the Japanese, and so on. So that's one thing. The other thing is producing cars, manufacturing. So how many Chinese cars are manufactured in South Africa?
Yeah, that's been
none.
Yeah,
how many German cars are manufactured in South Africa? Quite a significant number. So I think that is something to be kept in mind. Our guys are here. They're here to stay. They made a big investment to help this economy, to support this economy, to create jobs. So I think, in a way, this needs to be kept in mind. I mean, it's not to protect anybody, but I think either you ask the Chinese also to be invested in the market, not only selling, or you try to do something positive for those who are already invested, try to boost their business. So that's, and there's a lot of things which you can do.
How about increasing tariffs?
Yeah, well, tariffs is one thing, but there are also softer measures that you can take. I mean, there was this automotive support program. Now there are talks to revamp it, to take into account, electric, hybrid cars and stuff, modern car producing. And, our automotive guys, they are going down that lane. The new X3, the BMW, is a hybrid thing, a hybrid car, so which you can drive around electrically if you're going in Joburg, in Sandton, in Pretoria. But then if you do across the country trips, you go back to petrol. So it's kind of it's an innovative solution. So, but, this thing needs to be revamped, needs to be updated, needs to be inclusive of issues like battery production and stuff. But so that's something we are looking at. I mean, we are open to every fair competition. But I think we need to incentivize investment that creates jobs.
Yeah, and I think it was Chery that announced that they're going to be establishing a local production soon here in South Africa. And by the way, if you're in Germany, make sure you go check out the BMW Museum. When I was there, I went to check out the museum. It's something else. It's incredible, and I think it shows just why, Germans are leading in the automotive space. It's 24 minutes after 10 o'clock. We're in conversation with the German ambassador to South Africa, Lesotho and Eswatini. If you've got questions, if you want to join in this conversation, you've got inputs, give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Zakes owns an electrical business that lit up the neighborhood. Literally. One small spark, one big legal nightmare. But he has public liability insurance from Budget. The damage was covered and his client sorted. Sharp. To get public liability cover, visit budgetinsurance.co.za. Budget Insurance, official insurer for good South Africans. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
The safety and well-being of learners is a shared social responsibility. Parents and guardians play a critical role in ensuring safe, reliable, and lawful scholar transport. Parents are therefore urged to take responsibility for the following. Parents should ensure that learners are on time and ready for collection to prevent unsafe driving practices such as rushing, unscheduled stops, or overloading. By working together, parents, operators, and authorities can protect learners and build a culture of safety on our roads. Issued by the National Department of Transport.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
23.6 million rand just to prepare a number of sites, including the Museum Africa building called the Pink Building. Was this the only option? Could it have been done differently and for less?
The short answer is yes, it could have been done. The Johannesburg Heritage Foundation, along with Friends of JAG, actually came forward with a fully funded proposal to using external donors. It was rejected on the basis the initial plan was to relocate their artworks to Ditsong museums in Pretoria.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
27 minutes after 10 o'clock, we are speaking to Andreas Peschke, who is the German ambassador to South Africa, and we're talking just about the cooperation between South Africa and Germany. We started off, of course, by looking at geopolitics and what Germany's position is on what's currently taking place in the Middle East. I've got some questions coming through from our listeners, and I'll get to that in a moment. There is a question I want to ask about energy and transitioning to cleaner sources of energy. The debate in South Africa has been that it has to be a just transition. And there was a point where some of our politicians, even our electricity minister, felt like there was pressure coming from whether it's Europe, the West, saying you need to decarbonize, like take away your mines. And they felt, we can't do that now. Do you think that there's been enough grants or funding to help South Africa in that just transition?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it because, that just is really an intrinsic part of the energy transition. Even the partnership between South Africa and international partners is called Just Energy Transition Partnership. So if you don't do it in a just manner, you can't do it at all. So that would be our position. And I mean, we have that same experience in Germany. We are also transiting from coal to other sources of energy. And if you don't provide alternative employment and jobs to those guys living in the coal regions, working in the coal-fired power plants and stuff, then you won't go anywhere. So it's and that actually needs to be part of the transition. So we actually we also shared our experience. We had guys from the Presidential Climate Commission, from the sector stakeholders from South Africa, show them around in the areas in Germany what we are trying to do in terms of sharing best practices maybe. And then here, so we have those programs which are focused on the technical side, building solar, building wind, building turbines, going into transition. But then we also have joint programs that focus on that just aspect, who really specifically look at creating good framework conditions, how to create alternative employment, how to create an ecosystem where people would not only depend on traditional sources of energy, but where you can build something else. So there's one thing in actually it's like a training college in I think it's Cape Town. It's called Saretech. So we are cooperating there with South African government stakeholders, actually to train people in skills in modern energies, like solar energy engineers, like wind turbine engineers and stuff, so that you create alternative employments. And then we are working in places where there are traditional coal-fired power plants that may go out of operation at some point in the not too distant futures, because some of them reach the end of their life cycles anyway. So you would need to do something about them. And maybe Komati is not such a good example.
It's a terrible example.
Premature, but it was premature. But the experience, I think, here the people responsible in South Africa drew from this example is that you need to front load social aspects. You need to look at them first.
Yes.
Not after you do the technical stuff. So and that's what we are trying to kind of partner. And so there are some successful things which we are looking at. The Dutch are doing something at Rotvlee, creating alternative agricultural jobs for people who used to be in the energy sector before. So it needs to be part of it. It's very difficult because when we also were for hundreds of years, we were a coal-fired economy in Germany. When you want to change that, and South Africa goes down decades, when you want to change that, it really needs careful planning, but it can be done. Actually, I'm quite optimistic.
Yeah, it's 10:32. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. So good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is back before Parliament's ad hoc committee that's been probing police corruption. He is there for his closing submissions today. Mkhwanazi will also respond to evidence presented so far, as well as serious allegations that have been leveled against him throughout this entire process. He's the committee's last witness before it wraps up its inquiry at the end of the month. Residents in flooded parts of Limpopo say they fear for their lives as heavy rains continue there. Some communities have been left without water or electricity since the January floods, with rivers still overflowing and bridges being washed away. And an outbreak of meningitis is being treated as a national incident in the UK after 2 deaths were reported. The victims are a 21-year-old university student and a high school pupil. Thousands of students are being urged to get vaccines and take antibiotics as health officials deal with the unprecedented and explosive outbreak. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, there's queuing traffic on the Mike 1 South. This is between Grayston Drive and Corlett Drive. Road risks are causing these delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 South. This is just as you approach Van Buren Road. While heading towards Bedford, you do expect delays on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic reported in Boksburg along the N17 East approaching Rondebosch Road. Please be on the lookout there and expect about a 10-minute hold-up. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
On the Midday Report, every day from 12 to 1 p.m, we will bring you breaking news from the scene as it unfolds with newsmakers, reporters, commentators, experts and analysts. We'll explain the stories of the day, give you context for why they are important and what they mean for you. It is everything you need to know in 1 hour. From news to global events, business, sports, science, books and always some good news too. Appointment listening every day at 12 with the Midday Report.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Illegal water connections have serious consequences for the city's water supply. When pipelines are tampered with, it damages infrastructure, reduces system pressure, and can leave entire communities without water. Johannesburg Water continues to remove illegal connections and strengthen monitoring across the network to protect supply. Residents are encouraged to report illegal connections or suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg on 0800 002 587. Protect our water infrastructure. Protect our water supply. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water and sanitation utility that cares.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Some holidays give you the beach. Some give you the bush. What if one destination gave you both? This July, a world-first travel experience arrives in KZN with the opening of Club Med South Africa Beach and Safari Resort. To celebrate, 702 and Club Med South Africa are giving you the chance to win an all-inclusive beach getaway for two worth 70,000 Rand. Are you ready to experience the ultimate escape with Club Med? Tune in to 702 Afternoons with Relebohile Mabocha, weekdays between 1 and 3 p.m. to find out how to enter Club Med South Africa Beach and Safari Resort on 702. T's and C's and more on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock, in conversation this hour with the German ambassador to South Africa, Andreas Peschke. I want to give you an opportunity to join this conversation. I see some of your messages that are coming through on the WhatsApp line, some calls as well on 011-883-0702. So let's start with those calls. Renee, you are calling us from Kensington. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement. Once again, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I appreciate it. I overheard the German ambassador talking about the fact that German cars are manufactured here in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ironic that I actually just came to the Mercedes-Benz dealership now. I'm actually here talking to you from here. Clement, I want to ask the German ambassador if he could do something about the price of Mercedes-Benz cars and about the price of Mercedes-Benz parts. It is not very expensive. It is extremely expensive. We collect old cars as well, and it is just unbelievable the price that you get when you go for a quote. Just to give you a simple example, my sister's car is supposed to go in tomorrow for a gearbox service.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost over 6,000 Rand just for a gearbox service, because the filter alone with that goes with the gearbox is over 2,000 Rand. 1 liter of oil is over 4,000 Rand. You still have to add labor to that. It just becomes unbearable to pay these type of prices.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, we collect old cars. You go to get a quote on certain parts, it comes to 47,000 Rand, 53,000 Rand. It's just
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous.
Mm.
You take, for example, the U.S., where, they manufacture their cars in the 50s, 60s, 70s. It's cheap to buy parts for old U.S. cars. Why are we paying so much money for parts here in South Africa?
Got it.
So I'm hoping and I'm asking that he can do something about that.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know if there's anything he can do. Renee in Kensington, thank you so much for your call. Ambassador, is there anything you can do?
Well, Renee, I can assure you that I'm going to pass it on.
Mm.
So we are, of course, in regular contacts with our entrepreneurs. As such, and maybe that's a good thing, an ambassador or a state representative cannot do much about pricing, because that is still, we are kind of in a market, hopefully a free market economy. So, but I'll pass it on, and I hope your voice is going to be heard.
Mm-hmm. And then I want to read some of the messages here coming through. One says here, hi Clement, I like the ambassador. He is so patriotic about our country. I follow him on social media. If one does not know him, you will think he is a citizen of South Africa. So big ups to him. That's a message on the WhatsApp line. Another person says, good morning, Clement. Please can you ask the ambassador about funding for agricultural programs? And is there a relationship at an agricultural level between Germany and South Africa?
Well, it's a good question. There is a relationship. I mean, South Africa is a very strong agricultural country, and Germany is as well. So I think there's a large room for cooperation. Our minister was here last week, our Minister of Agriculture, and met the South African Minister of Agriculture. And one of the really topical things where we agreed on cooperation is foot and mouth disease. Because Germany was caught with a disease last year, and South Africa is suffering now. So actually ministers agreed and our experts agreed to tackle this challenge together, to exchange best practices, experiences, and to develop kind of measures that can be taken in a joint fashion. Our chief veterinary officers were together. They also met in the margins of the visit. So that's one thing, but we have agriculturists. I mean, obviously, the German market is interesting to South African agriculturalists. So selling fruits, selling wine. I mean, South African wine is a household name, is a household brand in German supermarkets. But we also have German agriculturalists who kind of partner with South African colleagues, farmers who are active here in the market, and try to develop the potential. And then there's the issue on agricultural equipment. So, I mean, there are German companies, not only suppliers, but companies who are actually producing components or parts of the equipment here on the ground. So at all these agricultural shows, you will have German brands of agricultural equipment that can be used. So we are open to partnership in this area as well.
Another message here says, hi Clement, can you ask the ambassador where non-politically affiliated entrepreneurs can send their pitch decks for that just energy transition funding? Do you operate at a country-to-country level or...
It's interesting why he says non-political. I would think an entrepreneur can be political, but per se should be non-political. Well, if they can be in touch with us directly, I mean, we have an open line, and then we can direct it forward to our agencies, KfW, which is our development bank, or GIZ, which is our agency for technical cooperation. So anybody who wants to be involved, who wants to do things, I mean, if obviously you can approach any institution in South Africa that is delving into the sector. But as far as our partnership is concerned, please come to us via social media or via the internet. We are wide open, and then we look into it.
Okay, some WhatsApp voice notes as well coming on 072 702 1702.
Clement, that German ambassador, nice speaking guy. I just like to give compliment to Germany as a country. Having been there several times on work, all the cities have been a beautiful, clean. Most of all, it's order. There's order in Germany and there's law in Germany. When they start projects, either they start it or they don't start it. The Autobahn are so clear and clean and clear. Alles gut in German. Wunderbar, wunderbar, wunderbar. Andilin Monganea. Thank you.
What are
Dankeschön. Autobahn is highway.
Oh, is that English?
Well, Autobahn is German, but because Germany is, I think, the home of the highway. The first highways were constructed in Germany. And so, sometimes I think the English sometimes use an English Autobahn just as a loan. No, it's our highways. Yeah, no, they are. Well, I mean, actually, Germans are complaining as South Africans about the state of our infrastructure.
Really?
But if you look at it from the outside, I think Germans like to complain about everything.
Yeah, and so do we.
Siakala.
Niakala.
Sonke sikati siakala. But no, we have good autobahns, and our cities are nice and very old cities as well.
Yeah.
The only thing is the weather. I mean, that is really, if you go to Germany, you need to pick the right time to go.
What is the right time?
Well, the right time is probably early summer.
Yeah.
During summer, it can be actually quite hot.
So what's your period for early summer?
Early summer would be June. June in Berlin is wonderful. Long nights. Sun is setting at 10:30, 11 o'clock in the evening, PM. So you sit in the beer garden, you sip your beer, whatever, party drink and stuff. So it's very beautiful. Or you go in September, late summer, which is incidentally when the Berlin Marathon takes place. So it's also a beautiful time of the year.
It's not too cold in September.
No, it's not too cold. It's not too cold. Actually, it can be very nice.
Okay, great. Because I'm running the Berlin Marathon, and
fantastic.
It can really get too cold. And when it's too cold, it just messes you up in the morning before the race.
Yeah.
Okay, that's incredible. There's another WhatsApp voice notes.
Hi, Clement. It's Mongez in Joburg. I'd like to ask the ambassador if South Africa and Germany have some sort of cooperation, funding, collaborations with the creative industry or to benefit the creative industries. I know that Germany has a lot of creative things that are happening there with their industries that they sometimes collaborate with other parts of the world with. I'd like to know if there are similar things happening with South Africa and how to find those. I know that the Goethe Institute, for instance, has some things that they're doing there, opportunities to import sort of creative and export creative work and find those collaborations. It's Mongezi in Joburg. Great conversation.
Thank you, Mongezi. Collaborations in the arts?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have obviously tours and tourneys by South African artists or artistic companies in Germany, like, the Slovo Youth Choir or orchestras, the Mzansi Ballet. I mean, they are going to Germany as well. And actually, they are playing to very enthusiastic audiences because interest is very high. But then in arts, I mean, the Goethe Institute is a good point of call. They are running regular programs. You can also be in touch with us at the embassy. We are also feeding it back with home. We have, for instance, a program called Artists in Residence in various places. We have one in Berlin, one in Leipzig, where creative guys, authors, or other artists can be in Germany for like a couple of months, half a year, and then do their arts and getting input from the German context. So that's one program. We run. We also have partnerships between. I mean, that's not particularly in the art, not directly in the artistic space, but we also have partnerships between museums. We regularly organize tours for museum guys, for artists to go to Germany to interact with their colleagues. So I think the best thing you could do is to be in touch with the Goethe Institute, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, with the embassy, follow our social media, follow our website, or ask us directly, and then we can update you on concrete programs that may be interesting to you.
All right, perfect. It's 12 minutes now before 11 o'clock. I've got more WhatsApps that I'll get to you after the break.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Today, 7:02 afternoons with Relebohile Mabocha will host a 2-hour maths masterclass dedicating this time to something that affects the future of this country. Recent reports show that more than 400 public schools in South Africa have stopped offering pure mathematics, and that raises a serious question. Where are the numbers? This conversation is not just about identifying the problem, it's also about finding solutions. They will bring together experts and voices from the classroom to unpack South Africa's maths crisis. So, if you're a parent, a teacher, or a learner, we want to hear from you. That's the masterclass on 7:02 afternoons with Relebohile Mabocha from 1 to 3 p.m. on 7:02.
Your voice,
your questions,
your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 7:02.
It's 9 minutes before 11 o'clock. We are just about to wrap up our conversation with the German ambassador to South Africa, Andreas Peschke, and I've got WhatsApps that have come on 072 702 and 702.
Clement, I just want to say big ups to Germany and the gentleman there in the studio, man. Germany is doing quite a beautiful work through GIZ program in South Africa. I mean, in Joburg in particular, they're working with the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and they are doing quite a good job, and big ups to them. Puti here, Johannesburg. Thank you.
Hi, Clement and the team. I'd just like to concur also about the discipline in Germany. I used to go to Nice a lot, and what I've seen in terms of the discipline, I remember the ambulance was coming out at some point, and every car in every stop had to stop for the ambulance to actually drive past the area, and then all the robots starts working again. I loved that. If that can happen in South Africa, Joe, like they wouldn't, because you do not see the ambulance, but you see the robot is actually showing that there is ambulance coming somewhere, and you had to stop and wait until the robot starts again. That for me, I applaud it, and I tried to introduce it here in South Africa because I was working in road safety then. And I remember the engineer laughed at me and said, "Do you think that can be implemented in South Africa?" Thank you.
Not in South Africa. Yeah, we will fight with the ambulance. But yeah, fascinating. Thank you so much for your questions and your comments. Ambassador, I want to ask about, there's a lot happening geopolitically, and I know, Germany has traditionally positions itself as a strong advocate for a rules-based international order. What do you make as Germany of what's going on in the world today? And it's a tough question, but do you even know where we're heading? It's so uncertain.
Well, actually, Clement, I wish I knew. It's sometimes you have a feeling that it's getting crazier by the day.
Or by the hour.
By the hour.
Every tweet.
There seems to be so much unpredictability. So, the thing is, how do we respond to this? Countries like South Africa, like Germany, not superpowers, countries who actually depend on a reliable international order, on a rules-based international order. And our conclusion would be Germany, European Union, South Africa, as I understand it, would be to, work together, to put our heads together, what we can do actually to keep, to uphold and to strengthen an international order that is really worth living for it. So, for instance, what South Africa did during the G20, in our view, was very useful. A lot of initiatives on development financing, international financing, reform of the United Nations, reform of international finance institutions actually initiatives to strengthen the international order. What we do together in the area in the United Nations to move forward the reform process is quite important. So I think it would be wrong. I mean, things are difficult, really, obviously, objectively. There's no doubt about it. But it would be wrong to resign. We must not resign. We need to actually tackle these issues, try to find partners, and try to work together with partners to do something about the situation. And there's a lot of things we can do together, as South Africa showed during the G20, as we are trying to show. Actually, we are running for a non-permanent seat at United Nations Security Council. We hope that South Africa is going to support us. So we are also ready to take responsibility again. So to move things forward, to improve and make our rules better.
Yeah. Another question here from Pochiso in Pretoria says, "Hi Clement, I would like to kindly ask why Germany discontinued the maglev train transport system. Additionally, are there any plans to revive this technology in the future or possibly introduce it maybe in South Africa where the large land area could make it highly beneficial?" The maglev train system?
Maglev?
You know about it? Maybe it's by another name.
Maglev, maybe it's what we call Transrapid, was on a magnetic kind of train system.
Was it discontinued?
Yeah, well, we had a test run, and actually it was far advanced, but then Germany in comparison to South Africa is actually is small. I mean, South Africa is 3.5 times the size of Germany. So the distances are very short. So we need fast trains, but we didn't need this super fast trains. So we discontinued working on this. It's a technology that maybe may come up. I mean, there is certainly space for faster trains in South Africa. Imagine if you have a fast train between Joburg and Cape Town, could cut down the commute to 5 hours. So, but then you don't need that super fast. You can also go for what we call in Germany the intercity, which goes like 200, 250 an hour. That would already improve actually traveling distance a lot.
Yeah.
Hi, Clem and Ambassador Peshke. I had the good fortune of interacting with Ambassador and interviewing him for my podcast, believe it or not, at a dance music conference that the German embassy had been sponsoring in Lesotho in South Africa. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that I love how generally the Germans are about arts and culture and supporting the arts. I don't know if you recall, at lockdown, the German government, I think we're one of the first governments to announce that they were ring fencing, I think it was €1 billion, just to support arts and culture and artists and the arts during lockdown, because they understood, one, the value that they bring to everyday lives of Germans, I suppose, and the fact that as soon as it's lockdown, there's no income for these people. So I love the fact that they're passionate about the arts and they invest in the arts. I think something we could all learn from.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that, Tato. And Ambassador?
Actually, I forgot to mention the DJ workshops when we spoke about culture.
Oh, DJ workshops.
So we are partnering with, important DJs here in South Africa. One of them is Ralph Gam, who is actually, a few people know it, but he's actually from Germany. So and they and a couple of other very experienced DJs in the sector offered programs to encourage and to give space to young aspiring DJs.
It's amazing.
So that was a good thing, and it always ended with very nice parties here in Joburg and in other places. That was a fantastic program as well of cooperation in the area of culture.
Yeah, Ambassador, thank you so much for making time for us to come chat to us for this hour. I really appreciate it, and all the best.
Thank you very much.
It's a minute before 11 o'clock.
It was actually a flawless process.
It definitely pays to switch.
I wish we had done it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know, when you claim, your excess is a fixed amount, not a percentage of the claim. For beauty salons, convenience stores, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now. Save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I am Sfiso Zulu. South Africa's annual consumer price inflation has eased further to 3%. This February reading is a decrease from the 3.5% in January. SA's Patrick Kelly released the latest inflation numbers a short while ago.
This February's monthly print was lower than average for the month, and we attribute this to three main factors. First, there was a delay in the implementation of some new medical aid rates. Most medical schemes increase prices at the beginning of each year and are surveyed by Stats SA in February. This results in higher than average monthly rates. In February 2026, however, not all medical schemes had adjusted their contributions. This delay resulted in a lower monthly change in the CPI than might otherwise have been the case.
KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is again back to the witness stand before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing police corruption. He's making his closing submissions today. Mkhwanazi is responding to evidence presented so far during these proceedings and is also replying to allegations that have been made against him. He is the committee's last witness before it wraps up its inquiry at the end of the month. Residents in flooded parts of Limpopo say they fear for their lives as heavy rains continue across the province. Some communities have been left without water or electricity since the January floods, with the river still overflowing and bridges washed away. Mongezi Koko has more from Limpopo.
Residents say promises made by government during visits to flood-stricken areas earlier this year have not been fulfilled. Bridges in Gumera village south of Musina remain damaged, leaving villages cut off and making it difficult to reach healthcare or emergency services. One community member says they feel alone and unprotected, calling for urgent action to restore safety, water and electricity supply.
Struggling to cross the river to where we live. So we're from the clinic now. But for us to get here, it was so difficult because the river overflowing.
With rivers still swelling and roads impassable, residents are urged to take care, avoid risky crossings and report any emergencies to the Provincial Disaster Management Centre. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
And an outbreak of meningitis is being treated as a national incident in the UK after 2 deaths were reported. The victims are a 21-year-old university student and a high school pupil. Thousands of students are being urged to get vaccines and take antibiotics as health officials deal with the unprecedented and explosive outbreak. Some 15 cases have been reported to the UK Health Security Agency, and they are all required hospital admissions. Meningitis is an infection of the protective membranes that protect the brain and spinal cord. It can affect anyone, but is most common in babies, young children, teenagers, and young adults. It can be very serious if not treated quickly. The cause of the infection, either by certain bacteria or viruses, can be determined by tests. Gold is trading at $4,987.87 an ounce. The rand is at 16.63 to the dollar, 22.21 to the pound, 19.18 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $102.13 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 South between Greyston Drive and Collett Drive. That's due to roadworks while traveling along the N12 West. We've got some issues towards the Glulis interchange coming out of Edenville Road.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: South Africa's annual consumer price inflation has eased further to 3%.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Six minutes after 11 o'clock, Sanbonani Dumelang, good morning. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Time for our Listener's Choice feature.
Burning questions,
insightful answers,
Listener's Choice
with Clement Manyathela.
So, on Monday, I received a call and then a voice note from listeners who, because we were talking about the Chinese Grand Prix and how brilliant it was. Why was it brilliant? Because the GOAT made podium. Lewis Hamilton made podium for the first time with Ferrari, which was incredible. So we were discussing it, and then two listeners said, can you please do a Formula One masterclass of sorts? So this is what we're doing today, as I promised. So if you've got questions about Formula One, or you want to understand something, you want to challenge something, you're welcome to call us on 011-883-0702 or send a voice note on 072-702-1702 or a text. Motor racing is, in fact, one of the most watched sports in the world. And at the very top of that pyramid sits Formula One, right? And every year, the championship travels across the globe, with teams and drivers competing in a series of high-speed races known as Grand Prix. And my guest will explain more about this. But this sport is fascinating. It combines cutting-edge technology, elite athletic performance. Strategy is also an important element in Formula One. And the massive global audiences are always watching this thing. They're always watching the drivers. They're always watching the performance of the cars. They're always watching the strategy of the various teams. So any question you have about Formula One, bring it up. The whole purpose of this is to get you to understand it a little bit better, as has been requested by some of our listeners. Hendrik Verwoerd is a Formula One correspondent joining us on the line. Hendrik, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Nice to talk to you.
Great to chat to you, man. So I don't know where to begin. Maybe we should begin with just explaining the seasons of Formula One, how they work, like how many Grand Prix do we normally have, and how do the teams themselves even decide on the drivers that they're going with for each season or for that period of years?
Okay. That's a very wide question, so I'm going to try to not answer it too widely if you don't mind. But I think, for the understanding of the sport and maybe motorsport in general, it's a good idea to just go back, to the beginning and slightly take a look at where it all started. And of course, the first motor race, I think people agree on that. The first motor race happened when the second guy bought a car, way back in the 19th century. Because I think it's a kind of innate thing in human nature that we want to compete. So obviously the one guy had the first car, his neighbor bought a car as well, and they decided they want to race each other and see which one has got the fastest car. So that's basically, I think, where the whole concept of motorsport started. shortly after the invention of the motor car. But it developed into a sport very quickly over the beginning of the 20th century. And in 1950, the World Championship, the Formula One World Championship, was established. And that's what we are having today still. It's the World Championship of Formula One cars. And Formula One basically means that there is a set of regulations to which these cars have to conform. In other words, they are single-seater cars, and they are open cockpits, and basically that's the formula. And there are many regulations that stipulate, the size and the weight and everything that goes into that. But basically, Formula One means the top formula in single-seater racing in the world, and it's all governed by a body called the FIA, the International Automobile Federation. FIA is the French lettering for them, and they basically set the rules and the regulations. But then there is another body, and that is the body that owns the commercial rights to the sport. And that is the body that negotiates the venues where the events take place. That's the body that puts together the calendar. And that's also the body that actually makes the money that eventually gets distributed amongst the teams at the end of every season.
Okay.
So that's basically the structure of what we have at the moment. How do teams decide who they want to have to drive for? Well, initially that basically meant, the richest team could lure the best drivers because they offered them the most money to drive for them. And so clearly when you are a team, you want to have the best man behind the wheel. When I say man, I mean driver. We've had one or two females in Formula One over the years, but unfortunately at the moment there isn't a female driver, but there's nothing that stops them to do that.
Okay.
Apart from societal situations, which is a completely different conversation. But anyway, so every team would like to have the best drivers. The teams are allowed to enter 2 cars per team, so they want to have the best 2 drivers behind the wheel, and it really depends on the kind of contracts that they offer. Also, from the driver's point of view, a driver who reaches Formula One would like to drive for the best team. It's not just about the money, but they want to drive for the best team because that offers them the best opportunity of winning the World Championship title.
Yeah.
The title of World Champion Driver. And that's a very prestigious title in terms of world sport. We know the Formula One World Champion is known well outside the sport itself. So it's a global prestige title globally, and drivers want to go for that. Apart from the fact, as I said earlier on, it's an innate thing for human beings to compete, and everyone who is in the sport wants to beat everybody else.
Of course. So here's a question that it comes out a lot, Hendrik, because you said, people want to drive for the best teams. You want to join a team that's got a really good car or invests a lot of money in really getting the best teams and getting the best car. But sometimes we've seen like moments where McLaren dominates in Formula One, and then Red Bull dominates, and then Mercedes dominates, Ferrari. And people often wonder if that is sort of prearranged in some way to make Formula One more fascinating, or is it just a pure fact of the different teams just investing a lot in technology and getting their cars to be the best, and some teams just happen to have a good best car?
I think the last one. There are a lot of conspiracy theories in related to Formula One. A lot of people think that everything is being arranged behind the scenes, and that everything is sort of artificial and so on. But the trouble with that is, by definition, if everything is arranged behind the scenes, why would they then allow any single team to dominate for a period of 5, 6, 7 years? That doesn't make sense at all. No, Formula One is a meritocracy basically. So it means that the best will rise to the top, and they will fight as hard as they possibly can to stay on top. One must always remember that from a team's point of view, they want to dominate. Every team wants to be on top, and once they get to the top, they wouldn't want to dominate because they don't like to lose. It also has a financial component to it because the prize money at the end of every season is divided amongst the teams, or 50% of the total prize, or total income or revenue of Formula One is divided by amongst the teams, and generally speaking, the top team, the champion of the previous year, gets the most money. So that's obviously what they want to achieve. It is a financial incentive. And again, if you take any sport, any team wants to stay on top of their chosen sport, whether it's rugby or football or cricket or anything. And if it's your team, you enjoy your team staying at the top. You don't want to be beaten. You don't care about the spectacle of the sport. You, as a fan, don't care about the other fans of the other teams, how they are feeling. You want your team to be on top. So it really depends on your perspective. I am an observer of the sport as a whole. So for me, it is important that we have not too much of one team dominating for too long.
Yeah.
And what you would normally find is that, the regulations change on a fairly regular basis. Sort of every 5 years, they change the regulations in order to rein the teams in a little bit, because if you leave them to develop any kind of technology and leave it with all the freedom in the world, it will become a completely unsustainable sport. So you have to rein them in after a while, get the cars to be a little bit slower, and then what happens normally is, and we've seen this now, this current season, that some teams that were not on top in the previous dispensation might get the new set of regulations right in a better way than other teams, and then you have a new team that rises to the top. So that is actually what we are seeing at the moment.
So a Grand Prix is spread over 3 days. Can you just explain then what happens in the 3 days? Because a lot of people normally focus on the last day of the main race day. But what are the first 2 days, and how significant are they in the broader context of the sport?
Well, no, typically, let's just say we have 24 races. Well, this year we're going to have 22 because 2 of those races in the Middle East have been cancelled. So normally there are 24 races in a season.
Can't they just replace those countries? Just bring it to South Africa and Kenya or something.
It's not quite that simple, Clement, unfortunately. But that's also a completely different conversation. Obviously, if you want to talk about it, we can go. But the fact is that most of the events, as you say, run over 3 days: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When I say most, there are a number of them, 6 of them, where that format is a little bit different. But the normal format would be 2 practice sessions of 1 hour each on the Friday, a morning session and an afternoon session. Then a Saturday would be a morning practice session in the morning, and a Saturday afternoon you would have the qualifying session where they set the order of the grid, the starting order for the Grand Prix, and then the Grand Prix is normally on the Sunday afternoon. So that's the normal format. On 6 occasions, they have what they call a sprint weekend, where they have an additional shorter race, basically to I think give people more opportunity to see these cars race each other. So on those weekends, you will have just the 1 practice session the Friday morning. You will have qualifying for the sprint race on the Friday afternoon. Then on the Saturday morning, you will have the sprint race. Saturday afternoon, you have the qualifying session for the Grand Prix, and then on Sunday, you've got the Grand Prix race as per normal.
Yeah, okay. I've got some questions coming through now from our listeners. We'll get to those after the break. It's 18 after 11.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion, because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours, and you will get double accident cover with a Clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway. increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a common virus that affects the airways and lungs, especially in babies and children. Find out more and learn about how you can keep your little ones safe tomorrow on 7:02 afternoons with Relebohile Mabocha in conversation with pharmaceutical company Sanofi. Keeping the health of your kids top of mind. They'll delve into symptoms, preventions, and awareness around RSV. So tune in to 7:02 in conversation with Sanofi, together against RSV.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers.
Listener's choice.
With Clement Manyathela.
20 minutes after 11 o'clock, it's the Formula One Masterclass. Some of the basics around the Formula One sport with Hendrik Verwoerd, who is a Formula One correspondent. Hendrik, I just want us to try be quick with the questions from a listener so we can cover as many as possible. And I'll start with this one about engineers. The question is, why do the drivers have their own individual, like, sort of engineers? Or is it the teams that would have one engineer? And can you have, so that's the first question. The second question is, can you have the two cars being different? And what would cause that if they're coming from the same team?
Well, basically, every driver has his own race engineer, because we have to remember that these cars are at the absolute limit of technological development. And so, therefore, you have to have somebody with an engineering background to be able to guide the driver as to how he could get the best out of that car. The driver is also technologically well versed, I think, but not as much, obviously, as a qualified engineer, an experienced engineer. So therefore, each driver has his own engineer, and each driver also has his own preferences and driving style. So one driver might prefer, the car handled in a certain way, and another driver might prefer the car to handle in a different way.
Okay.
So therefore, you have to have an engineer for each driver. And, they have to be guided as the race progresses as to whether something is maybe wrong in the car, or if there's a problem and how they could fix it and stuff like that. So that's the engineers. The two cars differ. Basically, they are the same because of those strict regulations that I've said earlier on. But each driver, again, has its own preferences, and they set up the cars in a different way, in an individual way, in order to suit their own driving style and their own preferences the best as they possibly could.
Okay. Another question is around DRS. Please, can you explain what DRS is and when does it become enabled? And could you have a race where DRS is not enabled?
DRS stands for Drag Reduction System. That is a system up to the end of last year, whereby the rear wing of the car is open. In other words, the plane is open to allow more air to go through, so to speak, and therefore it reduces drag. And if you reduce drag, you can increase your top speed, your straight line speed. And that was the whole idea, was to enable cars and drivers to be able to get closer to the car ahead of them and to be able to pass them. DRS does not exist anymore. The new regulations that came into being from this season onwards, there's no more DRS, but there is what they call a boost button, and that is when the driver can literally press the button on his steering wheel, and he then gains an extra amount of electric power from his car's battery pack, basically, and therefore that would allow him to pass the car closest to him. There are all kinds of technicalities as to when it is allowed, where it is allowed, and when you can do it, and that sort of thing. But
how far behind should you be? Is it within the 2 seconds?
Within a second, basically.
Within
okay. 1 second. At any, they call it a detection point. That's some point around the track. When they get to the detection point, the two cars, and if they are separated by a second or less, then the guy behind has the boost button available for him.
Okay. Another question. Do the cars change every year, like the regulations that lead to the cars changing? Is it every year or is it every 5 years?
Well, the regulation shows it's not a set period, but it's normal. It seems to have settled down to around about every 5 years. We had a major change in 2014, then we had another major change in 2022, And then we had this change now in 2026, and we are due for a next change in 2031. That's when they sort of decide how to redefine how the cars are designed. But there's no set rule as to how many times the rules have to change. Individual cars do change from race to race, however, and those are fine upgrades that they have when they find that something is not quite working the way they want in one race, or the next race has different demands on the cars. They can make, and they do make changes. They call it upgrades. So what they do is they bring upgrades to all the cars, every team, to all the cars at every race. So there are subtle changes to the cars right throughout the season.
Okay. And then before I go to the calls and WhatsApps, another text here says, Clement, how do the drivers prepare for these races? Because sometimes these races last nearly 2 hours at extremely high speeds.
Yeah, these drivers are absolutely elite athletes. They are Olympic level athletes in terms of their fitness and their preparation. So they do very, very precise exercises to enable them to deal with the G forces that they have in the cars when they go through corners. They deal with up to 5 or 6 Gs. Sometimes under braking, they can also have to deal with under about 5 Gs. So you have to be super fit. You have to be able to deal with the heat in the cockpit, as you said. They are obviously, there's no air conditioning in these cockpits, and they are dressed in thick layers of protective clothing, so they can get very high temperatures in the cockpit. They have to be able to deal with that. And all the time, when you're dealing with those kind of pressures, you still have to be able to consider the race situation. I have to consider race tactics. I have to consider how do you actually attack or how do you defend, and all those kind of demands are placed on the drivers. It's not like you're just sitting behind a wheel and just turning the wheel and going through corners.
So who decides on the strategy then?
Well, the race engineer is, as we mentioned earlier on, is to a large degree involved in that whole situation. But teams have their own strategy people as well. Teams have a bunch of people sitting back at the factory, at their home base, and at the track as well, where they analyze and use data and analysis to create all kinds of scenarios, and then decide on the best strategy onwards. So it's a collective decision by the team, often driven by the chief or the chief race engineer.
Okay, Babalo, you are calling us from Senton. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How's it going?
Sharp, man. Go ahead.
Good, man. I wanted to ask, as a nerd fan of the sport, in terms of watching like the lap times and the many sectors, I wanted to ask the correspondent, like when I watch it on TV, the fans that are there in the stadiums and on the stages there, and sometimes even on the grass, do they only get to see like a particular part of the track, or do they get to see like what's happening elsewhere if a car goes off, or if there's a pit stop, or if there's any other, or are they just focused on one particular area? In all honesty, it's always been my hesitant on whether or not it's worth even making the trip to go and watch a race if I'm going to be put in like the nosebleed section of a track, and then I don't get to see anything. I wanted to know, is it worth making an effort to go to one of these races?
Oh, yeah, Babale, let me get Hendrik to respond. But look, I've gone to watch it. I've watched the Qatar Grand Prix, and it was brilliant. So it's great to be there. But to your point, my frustration was also that you're just seeing this one part of the track, and then if there's an accident or an overtaking that happens or a lapping that happens on the other side, you hear people scream, but you've completely missed it. But sometimes there are screens in and around the track. Hendrik, your response to that, is it worth it?
Well, absolutely, Clement. I would always, if you can afford to go with a rand exchange rate as it is, please do so. As I've often told people, you don't go and watch a football match to actually follow the details of the event. You go there for the atmosphere, you go there for the experience. You get somebody at home to record it for you so you can watch back what actually happens when you get back. But yes, just quickly, there are big screens at various places around the track so people can watch and see replays. And then there's the F1 TV app that you can have on your cell phone. Where you can actually then follow live timing and stuff like that if you are at the track. But when you go to a Grand Prix, you go for the experience. You don't really go there and compare mini sector times and lap times and stuff like that. You go there for the enjoyment, for the experience, to be able to say that you've been there, that you've witnessed something great. And when you come back, you can watch the race again.
That's
in
what
detail
I
and see
did.
what actually happened.
Yeah. Babalu, check it out. Yeah, that's what I did. I went back to the hotel and I watched it again to hear the commentary as well.
Noted, Clement. I'll make an attempt to go watch the race.
All right, sharp. Babalu in Sandton, thank you so much. Another question here says, Clement, can your guest please explain the broadcasting rights and where can people normally watch the race? Hendrik?
Well, there are various broadcasting contracts in place in South Africa. Obviously, SuperSport is showing it. So if you don't have SuperSport, unfortunately, there's no television coverage that you can watch. But there is, as I've mentioned, the F1 TV app that you can have. You can
it's very good.
Subscribe to that. It's excellent. I have it personally. It's very cheap. If you don't have SuperSport, where you pay 1,000 Rand a month, you can go to subscribe to F1 TV and you can pay 1,000 Rand a year. So that makes a much better sense, and you can get all the different commentaries. You get onboard shot, you get live timing, you get everything on your computer or on your phone. So that's the way to go, I think.
It's perfect. Just a last question quickly, Hendrik. In fact, it's two questions. One is, please can you explain the difference between Formula 1 and Formula 2? And then the second question is, can you explain the tires? We often hear medium, soft. How do those work and what advantage do they bring?
Okay, F1 and F2 basically is just a question of the power availability and obviously technological differences as well. But Formula 2 is a step just below Formula 1. It's part of the ladder that junior drivers follow on their way to Formula 1. So Formula 2 is the step just below. There are a number of smaller steps or smaller cars and less powerful cars, formulas below that as well, from go-karts onwards. The tires, basically every race has three dry weather tires available, the hard, the medium and the soft, and they differ from circuit to circuit, but the soft one is the one that gives you the most performance, but it doesn't last very long, so therefore you need to change. Also, there's a regulation that you have to use two of those compounds in the race itself, so you have to have at least one pit stop. So that's a strategy decision by the teams whether they're going to start on the soft and then go to the medium or gain some places at the beginning with a better tire, then change to a more longer lasting tire after their first pit stop, or depending on conditions, whether they use the medium and then go to the hard or the other way around. If you're at the very back of the grid, you would probably start with the harder of the two compounds that you're going to use so that you can stay out longer. And when the other guys go into the pits to do their pit stops before you can then gain some places on the track before you have to go in. So it's a whole strategy thing. But basically, the soft compound is the quicker one. It doesn't last that long. The medium one is a little bit harder. It lasts a bit longer. And the hard one is the hardest, as obviously is the hardest compound. It doesn't give you all the performance and the grip, but it lasts much longer. So it's a strategy choice on the combination that you want to use in the race.
Hendrik, you've been great, brother. Thank you so much for making time for us. Hendrik Verwoerd, Formula 1 correspondent. It's 11:32. Bali has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. You've got some news about the annual consumer price inflation. Bali, good morning.
That's correct, Clement. A very good morning. South Africa's annual consumer price inflation has eased further to 3%. This February reading is a decrease from the 3.5% that was seen in January. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has explained why he retracted a statement about an alleged exchange of money between former Minister Bheki Cele and Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. Mkhwanazi made the allegations during his first appearance before the ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of police corruption. He said Cele had received money from the alleged underworld tycoon Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. And a law firm challenging the appointment of Advocate Endi Mutibi as the head of the National Prosecuting Authority says there were irregularities in that decision. B. Xulu and Partners Incorporated is presenting its case in the Pretoria High Court today. The firm is seeking to have both the establishment of the independent panel which advised on that decision as well as Mutibi's appointment set aside. All those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While travelling on the M1 South, we've got delays between Grayston Drive and the Collett Drive exit. That's due to roadworks taking place along this route. Please be on the lookout there. There's also roadworks causing some delays in the Boksburg area along the N17 east between the Rondebold exit, actually just as you approach Rondebold Road, and it's causing about 20-minute hold up there. So please be on the lookout and approach with care. Heading towards Alexandra, queuing traffic on the N3 North approaching Modderfontein Road. There's also a bit of a hold-up reported heading towards Amalgam on the M2 West. This is between the Crown Interchange and the Main Reef Road exit. More updates coming up at the top of the hour with Karabo Jali. That's your last update from me, Amo Ramela. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
25 minutes before 12 o'clock. The Sharing Space is all about us sharing our stories. And as always, please send us your stories on cm@702.co.za that you want to share with us. We share whatever happened at work, at home, with your partner, something that concerns you. Maybe if you need advice from our listeners, just send an email to share your story with us on cm@702.co.za. Today, we've got an email from, is this Anonymous? Anonymous. And I'm going to read it. And if Anonymous is asking for advice, please be kind enough to advise them. And if they're just sharing a story, I'd like to know if you've been in the same situation before. So here we go. Hi, Clement. There is something bothering me about how my friend is parenting his children. My friend is Zulu, originally from KwaZulu-Natal, but resides in Gauteng. He has 3 kids aged 13, 10, and 8. All 3 of his children do not know how to speak their home language. The eldest one understands some words, but cannot hold a full conversation in isiZulu. The youngest ones cannot speak the language at all. I have kids around the same age, and I've made it a mission to teach them my home language, isiXhosa. I have raised concerns with my friend and his wife about this for years, but they seem not to be taking it seriously. I'm concerned that this is depriving the kids not only of their beautiful language, but of their culture, which is often tied to understanding language. What is saddening me is that the kids are growing each year, and it seems like they are straying further and further from their language. I know it's none of my business, but I care. I just don't know how I can make my friend and his wife see the seriousness of this issue. Is it any of my business? Please ask the 702 lenders what advice they have for me on how I can approach this situation. Anonymous. Okay, thank you so much, Anonymous, for sharing that story with us. I will take your calls now on 011-883-0702. What do you think of what Anonymous is raising here as an issue? He's got a friend who is from KwaZulu-Natal, who is married with 3 kids, 13, 10, and 8. And Anonymous says, my friend's children don't speak their home language. They don't speak isiZulu. They only speak English. And Anonymous says he's concerned about that because that's part of their children's culture and identity. And he's tried to raise it with the friends, but they seem to be okay with it. And he just wants to know, how does he approach it? Or should he stay away from it because it's none of his business? And look, I have to say that, I've come across couples who have decided to raise their kids this way. In fact, they take pride in the fact that their children only understand English. It's quite scary. They take pride in that. Like, that's a thing for them. It's like, oh, our kid only speaks English. So it's a thing that really happens. But also, we must be mature enough to understand that that could be a choice of the parents. Maybe to them, language is just language, and it doesn't mean as much as it means to you. So a part of me also feels like, just understand that those people have their way of life, and they've chosen that way of life. Language to them is not as important. But do you know of scenarios like that? Where children cannot speak their mother tongue, whether that is Afrikaans or Sepedi or English, and the parents seem to be okay with that? Or are you a type of parent who says, as soon as you step into this house, we speak this language and not English? You can speak that in school or when we're talking about your homework, but here we have to speak your home language so that you get used to it. Or are you a type of parent that says the kids need to practice this language when they're at home, so you need to open that door? And how do you deal with the kids when they go visit Ukoko no Bamkulu? Huh? They must go there and say to a gogo, Gogo, what's up? What's happening? Okay. Poor gogos. What do you think of what Anonymous is raising this morning? And what advice do you have for him? It's 20 minutes before 12 o'clock. I'll go to your calls and WhatsApps after this.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Is there tension, broadly speaking, North African football playing countries and those of sub-Saharan Africa? And are we really still one federation? Do you see the Moroccans and Egyptians treating each other like this? For example, Steve, who's your AFCON champion?
For me, Senegal.
Suspect many people will agree. Do you have a view on this?
Hi, Bongani. Had Morocco won the AFCON, Senegal would still face the charges. CAF needed to make an example of anyone who would behave like that.
Mateo, you're a football lover. Who's your AFCON champion?
Always be Senegal. You can never win a championship in a boardroom. It'll never be respected.
The rules are so specific around this, they say it becomes automatically 3-0.
Do you know what the fans will say
What
to
would the
Morocco?
fans say?
Who scored the 3 goals?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
The Dis-Chem Better Rewards program is here, and every time you shop and save, you're also giving back. Each time you swipe, not only are you rewarded, but a percentage of your purchase is donated to the Dis-Chem Foundation to support communities in need. So why wait? Sign up to become a Better Rewards member today and support with every swipe. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery and unveiling benefits. Apply today, it's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
All right, let's hear from you now. 18 minutes before 12 o'clock. Mandla, let's start with you. You are in Giyani. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Clem. How are you?
Machero neabuzi.
Awisheni, that will be Menda.
Oh, I'm shit. Okay, I'm shitting. Go ahead, Mandla. What do you think of what Anonymous is sharing with us?
So this is the thing. You see, all the elite, those who've managed to take their children to the top tier private schools, the moment when that starts, I think everyone diverts and start liaising with their children in English, to the extent that even when you visit them, then you're trying to greet a young boy, a young girl, hello, kunjani. The even students say, that one can never, like they take pride with it, and then you go like, how is this possible? All my children can speak my home language, and then they've been to those schools. Then I don't understand, but then the only person who should take a stand is the mother, because a mother-to-child communication should be a home language, clearly like that. And time and again, you'll be picking a phone and say, your grandmother want to talk to you, grandfather want to talk to you. And that's where it starts. Because obviously there can never be this thing of, like, what's up, granny, how you doing? No. They will let that person, that child, speak the home language. But these people, most of them, they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your life with. But those average which I've got in my cycle, 90%, their children cannot speak their home language.
Yeah, Mandla, that is quite crazy, man. I try at least where I can talk to my friends about it. I mean, I hear, even with my niece, I try, to say, hey, let's try. As Kulum is closer because the mom is closer. Or, because your dad, my brother, because they need to learn that. All right, Mandla Ngiani, thank you for your call. Let's go to Anna in Lingsfield. Anna, good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, Anna. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
According to me, we're living in modern days, guys, and how people judge you, it doesn't matter. The mother's language doesn't put food on the table. Every subject which we learn in English. So if a person understands English, they will understand the question and how to answer the question. That's how I see it. My child speaks English, and how people they judge me, I don't care. But the fact that if we are living in modern days, even when you go and look for a job, we don't go and speak your mother's language. Us as blacks or whatever the culture, we can't offer those jobs. So for you to have food on the table, you must be able to speak English. So for me, I will go for English and I'll never judge anyone. Thank you so much for the
okay.
Clement.
Anna, thank you for your contribution as well in Lingsfield. Tutuzile, you are in Pretoria. What do you think?
Clement, I am an African. Being an African, my kids will speak the African language before any other language. For one simple reason, they have to be able to fit into the family structures without any struggles. If they can't speak, I'm Swazi speaking, if they can't speak Swazi or call it isiZulu, bazokhuluma kanjani nogogo, you know? And to me, that is very, very important. English is good. I mean, as the previous caller has said, it puts, when you go to work, you speak English. That's good. We grew up speaking our language. And
nice, we speak English now.
And it doesn't change anything. If the more languages you speak, the better. But not at the expense of not speaking my mother tongue.
Absolutely.
And I'm very, very strict. And I'm glad my sons understand that. Mabekhuluma isingisi uvana bathi abo angikuzwa
nami ngenza kanjalo.
And then you know abantwana, even if they speak isiZulu mhlambi accent ayisafani neyethu, but they have to be able to speak their home language.
Yeah. Tutuzile in Pretoria, thank you for your contribution.
Hi Clement, I think we need to leave people alone. People will raise kids the way it suits them. If you want your children to know isiZulu, English, Afrikaans, all the languages, good for you. But it's not the case for everyone else. So I think when it comes to parenting, as long as the person is not abusing their children, don't involve yourself. It's none of your business.
Hi, Clem. If there's one thing I've learned is you do not interfere with how people are raising their children. It's their choice. It's their kids. It's theirs. You stay out of it. It's not your business. If the parent is open to advice, they will ask you, but do not give unsolicited advice. It's really not necessary. And that's if you treasure the friendship or value the friendship, if I can put it that way.
Good morning, Clement and 702 all listeners. Yeah, it's Kamis here from South. Yeah, Clement, I've got same challenge, I don't know the local language, but like my partner, she's a Tswana, and I am from Uganda. So we've got two kids. We speak in English because I don't know her mother's language. She doesn't know my language. So we end up speaking English with our two children. So it's honestly weird to understand, I also would like some advice from there. Thank you for the good show anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, and I can only imagine how complicated then that dynamic is. And maybe you need to learn a bit of Tswana and your wife needs to learn a bit of your language from Uganda, and then teach the kids. My thing is, even if it's too complex, let them at least know the basics. How do they greet? How do they respond? How do they ask for water? How do they say, we're leaving, goodbye? Yeah? And you'd find the kids know how to do those things in French, in German, in all these other languages, but they are home languages. But then again, let's also respect that some parents, to them, language is just language. They don't care much. As long as their kids are communicating and are proficient in a language, transactional language like English, which is the medium of instruction. More of your calls and WhatsApps after the break.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
You've been accused of having employed General Sibia.
General Sibia. The process was so transparent that even before he started work, I called media why I had to form an anti-corruption unit through council. I didn't just really form it in my office because of the level of corruption. 35 billion rands of fraud and corruption. Given the mandate, the appointment of the anti-corruption unit must be done in an open, transparent manner.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
9 minutes before 12 o'clock. If you've just joined us, we got a story on our Sharing Space feature today from a gentleman who has a friend and he's worried about how his friend is raising his kids. He says the friend is married with 3 kids, 13, 10, and 8, and none of them are able to speak the language, their home language, which is isiZulu. And this anonymous chap says the friends and his wife are very okay with that, but he feels like the kids, this is taking away from part of their identity, from their culture as well. What do you think? And he's been asking, how do I approach this matter? And I'm asking you if you're experiencing something similar and what your thoughts are about what Anonymous is raising with us. Malibongwe, you're in Midrand. What are your thoughts? Hi. Malibongwe. Sure.
Yes, Clement. Yes, firstly, I just want to put a disclaimer. I respect every parent's choice concerning the language they choose for their child. However, for me, my screen would crawl if my kids didn't speak my language. So here's the trick that I used with all of my children. Right from the age where they begin to speak, every school holiday, I used to send them to my mother at the village so that they can learn Xhosa there. I would drop them there, come back after 2 weeks when the schools are opening, and pick them up. And I did that consistently until their age of 6. And by then, there was no escaping now. They knew my language.
Yeah.
They knew my language and they were fluent.
Yeah.
So I would suggest to other parents, drop them off during school holidays, leave them there.
Yeah.
Come back and pick them up when it's close to opening.
Yeah.
They will grasp the language.
Yeah, no, they definitely. I've seen that with my niece. Whenever she comes from spending time with my parents, you can hear her blurting out some Sepedi or Ndebele words. Malibongwe, thank you for your call. Lerato, let's start with Nyana first, who's in Centurion. Nyana, hi.
Hi, Clement. Thank you so much for taking my call. So
Sure.
I find myself in this predicament where my kids speak predominantly English.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a Tswana-speaking lady, and my husband is Tsonga. When we first met without the kids, I took that extra step of learning Tsonga. So namuntlha na swi kota ku vulavula. Mara loko me vulavula, people can hear that the accent is Tswana. So that is fine. But now I'm having the trouble onboarding my kids because we're onboarding into Tsonga with a mother that speaks. They like saying in Guyana, my Tsonga is bought from ShopRite, which is a joke that is light. I take it to heart because you can hear the accent is so heavy. But we've got a few challenges, and I feel always so judged because you hear my kids predominantly speak English. Parents don't understand. Like, for instance, with my son, when he started talking, he had speech impediments. He's now into speech therapy, so that also added another layer. My mother-in-law, unfortunately, is late. I don't have the option of shipping them to Guyana, both my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. My mom ke Motswana and is also saying, "Bana ba ke Matsonga," so how do we do that? But I want to also give props to my husband on this call to say that every night they do words like no mfundle, bemati. So it's a slow process. I don't know when we will get there. But one of the things I've been saying to the Tsonga-speaking community and all other communities like vendors is, here is an opportunity for someone to say, on Saturday, I have Tsonga classes in Soweto. People that think like me can join there. I would actually pay for that service. I know that when we get there from the door, we're speaking Tsonga, even if it's bought from ShopRite. I have a community to converse because my neighbors are Zulu and Ndebele. I don't have a Tsonga community other than me and my husband. So maybe people listening out there, here is an opportunity.
Yeah.
I am willing to pay for those services. I'll drive out to wherever the people are. Obviously, we're in close range. I'm in Centurion. I can go as far as Soweto. You tell me you do these classes, I will pay because it is worrying to me. I don't want to be here, but as you can hear, I've got challenges.
You do, and they're quite unique. But big ups to your husband, Nyana. The fact that every night he is intentional about that, for me, that shows that he is trying to do something, which is good enough. And good on you for also learning Chitsonga. Oshbolabola. What do you say, Gabo? Shap, Nyana, it's a chariot. Lerato in Pretoria, hi.
Hi, Clement, how are you?
Shap, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Clement, it's the thing is that we can't impose what a parent wants to do for their child.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we always have to remember that language is identity, and it's something that will never take a child backwards. And we are in a point where I think a lot of our culture has become a bit diluted with urbanization and all of that. And these are the bit of the strongholds that we kind of go to as people that will kind of preserve us and culture a bit longer, And I think, but being multilingual has never disadvantaged anyone, whether it's the language that you speak locally or not. But we also see more companies coming into South Africa that are trying to get more immersed in local communities. Being able to speak a language that is of a certain community will definitely benefit you. We can't always be looking outwards and saying this is what's happening abroad, internationally, wherever. What's happening locally? And these are things that, in the long run, in terms of just in terms of scope, you can never be disadvantaged. And the unfortunate thing is that I think most of us now, even in our households, speak more English. Even as parents, we speak more English than we do. And unfortunately, it does pass on to the kids because we don't speak as many of our local language.
And they hear you when you speak with your friends, Lerato, English. I sometimes say to my friends, Are, Sepedi, or Zulu, let's go.
English has become more of a first language for all of us. But I think we can also see how much of a disadvantage, how much it is setting us back. A child that will be able to speak the language can immerse himself in any part of the community.
Absolutely.
Even if you speak Zulu but go to Rustenburg, at least you can go there and still be among people and
converse with
and communicate, and they'll understand that, okay, you might not be from here, but you are one of us.
Yeah. Lerato in Pretoria, thank you.
Why argue with your teenage know-it-all when you can feel more in control? Get the Haval H6 from only $6,299 per month with intelligent voice command technology that does not backchat. Perfect. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
With OUTsurance, saving on your car insurance feels like finding money in that jacket you forgot about. 27-year-old Liam saves an awesome 640 Rand on his 2020 Ford Ranger. Get a quote now, and if OUTsurance can save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your clientele legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Coming up, the midday report with Mandy Winner. How are you doing, Mandy?
Hey, Clement.
What's popping?
General Clement Manyathela is tying up some loose ends at the ad hoc committee in Parliament today. Kat Matlala has appeared in court. We'll have a look at the Madlanga Commission as well. We'll unpack the link between assassins for hire and a well-known tobacco baron. Inflation is down to 3%, and we'll talk about that crazy CAF decision to name Morocco as AFCON winners.
Wild.
So wild.
That's what's coming up on the midday report. Thanks for listening to the, what day is it today? Wednesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We're back again tomorrow, though, between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has explained why he retracted a statement about an alleged exchange of Bheki Cele and Vusimuzi Kat Matlala. Mkhwanazi made the allegations during his first appearance before the ad hoc committee probing allegations of police corruption. He had said that Cele received money from Matlala, but Mkhwanazi later retracted that statement and apologized to Cele for